S&P 500 hanging out here near pre-market highs. We'll take a look at the NASDAQ doing the same nice move to the upside here for the Qs. Dow looking even better. This is a big gap up here for the DIAs, the Dow Jones ETF, even more so than what we're seeing with that strength in both the NASDAQ and the SPY. And of course, we also have to talk about oil because big move down here in oil. Looks like roughly 5 to 10 minutes ago, Bloomberg reports that Qatar, one of the mediators, or one of the countries that's been viewing itself as one of the mediators here, is signaling progress between a potential short-term deal with the U.S. and Iran. So that would be, as you guys can see here, not a great look here for U.S., so potentially a good look here for the market and for overall peace in the region. We'll have to wait and see how all of that shakes out. Now, in terms of economic data, we do have a pretty big print coming out here at 10 a.m. That's going to be JOLTS job openings. Forecast here, but that's going to be 7.45 million. So we're expecting a little bit of a drop compared to last print here of 7.59 million. So yeah, a little bit of a decline here for that JOLTS job openings print. Factory orders also coming out at 10. At 8:30, you'll get the trade balance. We'll give that to you, but that's not going to be usually as market moving of a number as what we're going to see here with JOLTS. But we have tons of earnings to discuss today and all week here. Palantir reported a blowout, a knockout quarter. There was very little, if anything, negative to see about this report. It was pretty much all positive. Tons of growth here for both overall revenue and specific segment revenue. We've also got some massive reports after the bell, including AMD, one of the biggest chip names around, and they're gapping sharply to the upside today. We've also got SpaceX. They're going to be reporting their first ever quarter as a public company, and they're gapping up after honestly pretty strong session yesterday. So SPCX, AMD, and Watch. We had a whole bunch of other names, though, that reported before the bell today. You had some interesting analyst notes and the likes of Walmart and SK Hynix. Once again, Sharif, we find ourselves in a morning with a lot to discuss. Good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Absolutely. Palantir with some otherworldly earnings. Beautiful look there. Gapping up pretty aggressively. But guys, keep your eyes on the optics names. I'm talking about Lumentum. I'm talking about AAOI. They're gapping up pretty aggressively here to start the morning on the back of reports that the Trump administration could be looking to ban Chinese data center components. Are already very up just to start here. So let's talk about some other headlines as well. USO we covered on semi reported. They were up about 7%, not a bad look. AMD after the bell today gapping up. Apple, several different headlines today. One, they're looking to file an injunction to prevent OpenAI from releasing their, I guess, AI device, whatever is going to come out from that. Also, they've got about $10 billion in revenue from India. That's a first there, but they're also facing an uphill battle in England where the English regulator is trying to get data that is secured behind Apple's encryption. Snap reporting as well, and then Caterpillar already up double digits here, 10.25 on a stellar report. Spotify not so much, they're down almost 5. And then we have a mixed bag here with McDonald's and Pfizer. Merck as well reported. And Nike, you don't want to catch a JPM downgrade today, but that's what they did.
Yeah, Nike, it feels like this one is often, running its way into various downgrades. With McDonald's, and maybe we'll get to talk about it after, but the CapEx on McDonald's was quite surprising to me, and I think maybe one of the few red marks in that report, a little bit higher CapEx than what the street was expecting. Again, not a name that you normally associate with CapEx either, McDonald's, but there's obviously going to be a lot to discuss. But let's get right into the trading side of things by saying a good morning to both Sean and Neil. Happy Palantir Day to both of you.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you. Well, Palantir Day. I got the hat on there, so we got the Palantir hat on. But yeah, what a good report.
Need like a cat suit too.
Caterpillar. Yeah, that was a good one. I'm finally into Caterpillar. I think we're finally back to flat on that name. So that was a good report. I actually wanted to find out what that poll was there yesterday, because I think the number one, the thing that won was greater than 12% down. So once again, the poll once again. Yeah, what were the results?
So here we go. Palantir after the bell. It was really tight.
Was it? Okay, good.
So barely winning was down more than 12%, 27%.
What was the up?
Up less than 12% was 26%.
Yeah, that was a pretty.
But the up over 12%, which is obviously what happened, 23.5%.
Okay, so it was really close.
It was super close.
So it doesn't matter. Okay, so it's really super close. So, whenever we were saying that before, sometimes you think one way and it's the other. But the IGV has been pretty hot, right? We've seen the NASDAQ really start to take off a little bit there today. But yeah, there goes Caterpillar. You had Caterpillar up there. There goes Palantir.
I'm just reminded of the other poll we had last week.
What was the other poll that we had?
So we had a who did it best. They put up pictures of Dr. Evil Joe, Pitbull, and Mr.
Yeah,
Clean.
Joe would always.
And Joe cleaned up.
Yeah,
Joe cleaned up.
Joe
Mr. Clean put up a fight, but Joe.
Where is Joe?
Joe held it down.
I saw Joe today, didn't I?
He's
Yeah,
here.
He's here somewhere.
Yeah, he's probably grabbing a coffee.
But yeah, better than expected, as we sort of thought we would get better commercial. And we talked about that yesterday. Like, what's the next step for Palantir? And it looks like it's going to be that commercial revenue coming in. And the government also, like 90% higher revenue, and then the 149% on the commercial side. So, and then with a better than expected look forward as well. All right, what is BTDR? Oh, this is another Anthropic thing here.
A little small.
Probably signed a $10 billion compute deal with Nvidia, backed by security capacity for Norway to in partnership with BitDeer.
Yeah, it's running. It just went 20% up here.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you get these deals.
Decent size float, 148, but 38% short float on BTDR. Well, that puts it on the radar right there. Yeah. Float's decent, but if it's that much short, 38% short, and it's really just coming off the low. So watch out for that one. And get another small capper in here. Well, another gapper, I should say. And 13 looks like a pretty good level if it can hold up. It's less. These news just hit, and it's less than 1 million shares already. But that just hit like a minute or two ago. But yeah, it's a great start to the day. And the other thing about it is, forget about, you're not going to forget about Palantir. You're not going to forget about Caterpillar. You're not going to forget about the earnings. But USO, oil down 3%. And that certainly does not hurt the rally that we're seeing right now. I mean, Bitcoin's slightly up here. So far, really good start to the
Yeah, I mean, you're also getting, all the markets are at all-time highs. I mean, NASDAQ's now 3% away. The ES is at the all-time high. And the Dow Jones yesterday, after gaining 700 points, is also at your all-time highs. With the diamonds is how we can express our interest in the Dow Jones. And I mean, just look at this. This is absolutely rip right now. Taking out that high yesterday, and see you later goes the Dow. I mean, cash is king unless you're sitting on it, right? I mean, right now you want to be in this market, it seems like, as a lot of sort of easy plays over the last couple weeks, but it was tough in certain sectors, right? Like AMD, and, having to try to bottom pick, we had that huge sell-off there that apparently, we found out was fueled by the hedge fund. A little bit of over exposure to the space really crushed so many names and got us all thinking like, oh my gosh, this whole AI trade is unwinding. It just shows you what leverage can do and how dangerous that kind of stuff is. But the smart people that can figure it all out, know that the earnings are strong, right? This is now 2 or 3 quarters in a row that the S&P 500 has outpaced its earnings expectation. And I mean, we all thought that a lot of these software names, we could just look at the IGV individually as well, but Microsoft being up 25% in 4 days is definitely pause for concern today, down 2%. And I just think it's just a relief rally that's coming to an end a little bit here. Like, that Azure number, the Copilot coming profitable, everything. Now you're going to get a little bit of a pullback in some of these names, and then I think it's time to ramp them up one more time here. So, here's the IGV by itself, and it's just been, off to the races as software names are back, hoping that CRM and, Adobe and, led by Palantir. Palantir's a big spot in the IGV, so we'll see if that can get going today with Microsoft.
Softy's down today.
Microsoft's being the top stuff there. It's Sean, see you later, alligator. Yeah.
In a while?
That it's crocodile. Yeah, my grandfather used to say the alligator comment there. All right, so Marvell. Yeah, I mean, as Sharif had mentioned, a lot of these names today, and this is not a photonic name or anything like that, but they just recently did buy, I forget the name there, but a photonics name as well, and invested some money in there. So, that's up nicely, 7, 8, 9%. And part of that move down, again, was part of the big sell-off that we had seen, and it's still down a lot from its highs. I mean, I think Marvell needs a lot of work, but it's nice to be up where it is, and looking to break through. Where's the 200 period? I was going to say, I don't think we crossed that, so we came pretty close to that. Like, wow, you could have just had 3 days ago Marvell at 160. Like, the portfolio, that could have been had just 4 or 5 days ago to the long side, man, to have those days back. But I'm not sitting on that much cash anyways, so it's not like there's nothing that we could do about it. And one name that I thought that's been beat up a lot has been Corning. And I thought I liked this name, and it's battling back. Like, this was 120. Like, what the hell? Now up to 160? Like, these are moves that don't happen in 3 or 4 days.
There was some insanity.
But I think we also have to remember, like, how much the moves were down.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's easy to say.
Small amount from the lows.
You had some days where these names were down 10, 12%, you know? So.
Yeah, well, and think about just the memory names as a group there. I'm just going to quickly show you the quote board, just because on my quote board anyways, obviously oil and nat gas are going to be down, but Amazon too, Meta, Microsoft, both down a couple, Alphabet down 1.5, Netflix down.
Oh, yeah?
Like, Apple's flat, but the interesting thing today is you don't really have the mags going with, and come on, man, that's after like great quarters across the board. So the gap down, the gap down in these, some of it, say the NASDAQ just got to the highs potentially, or you just had a breakout, you want to confirm. So they're taking a little bit of a step back, but just going back to the chips. One thing to keep in mind, we're talking about for like Micron and the like, SanDisk as well. I'm telling you, that CMXT, that Chinese company, like, 'cause there's all this tit for tat about block lists and yada, yada, yada. If CMXT ends up on some kind of a block list, then that just furthers the glut for memory, because right now you already have you have Apple and you have American companies that are looking to deal with them because prices are high, or just to even be able to get some inventory. And that's the thing. If there's any constraint on them, it's only going to be good for the rest of these memory names. But you do have to remember how far they did pull back, like 5 bills off the top from Micron. That was a 40% drawback, plus over 40% drawback. So when it bounces, when you bounce 17, 18% and you were 40 off the top, you realize that you didn't do that much damage. Like, it's just how the math works, right? Like, it's the percentage gains are much more impressive relative to off at the top, and that becomes the tricky thing. But yeah, that's the Mag 7 lack of participation that gets a little bit interesting this morning for sure. But Sharif, usually we'll throw to you right now and be like, oh, let's talk about some small cappers. But it was that you mentioned quickly that AOI, and we got light moving around a little bit. So that's a big, big story. I think AOI is in play today.
And it has a lot of leveraged ETFs, Neil, and that's been bugging me a little bit on the midday because they gap up so aggressively and they crowd my scanner, and I don't want to trade them, right? I'm looking for pure plays, but anybody who's interested, you have AAOG gapping up here about 40%, likewise, I should say, with AAOX. AOX actually has a bit more volume, actually almost 4 times more volume, but up the same percentage, a bit more expensive though, 1937, trading right into that $20 area, pulling back a little bit here. So there's going to be a lot of these leveraged ETFs for these names that are gapping up here, Daryl. A lot of diversity for anybody who wants to trade them.
And AAOI also reports earnings, I think, Thursday after the bell, around 4:10 p.m. So you're going to get more AAOI coverage. We're going to talk about this story as well here on the rundown with all of these, China component potential ban here and how that impacts these names. But let's start here with PLTR, another name that we will be covering multiple times this morning, not to fear in case you miss it here. So PLTR, massive earnings report. You had a big revenue beat, big EPS beat, and all different categories of revenue for PLTR very well received here in addition to raising their guidance.
Yeah, let's get into the nitty-gritty here. So, surging AI sovereignty demand, but that AI sovereignty demand is coming from one country and one country only, and that's a big problem here because you have a lot of concentration risk. We'll get to that in a second. But their EPS was boosted here artificially about 3 pennies because they were early investors in SpaceX and they cleaned up big when that made it to market. So good luck for them. But as I mentioned, extreme concentration in the United States. Total percentage of revenue, 81% coming from one country. And that, remembering is a domestic story. And the U.S. revenue did surge about 115% year to date, with the government segment coming in barely above 50 now. 51.2% of their money is coming from the government. 48.8 coming from commercial, so that's a good diversification there. It wasn't always this way. They also expand their ARPU, so U.S. commercial service revenue jumped 149%. U.S. customer count grew more modestly, though. So what we're seeing here is that you're not growing your customer count, but you're making more money per customer. So kind of good and bad, especially if you want to diversify a little bit. something to think about there. And then they're debt-free, man. They have $9.2 billion in cash and 0 debt. It's a good company to be in right now. I know all the polarization with our audience about Palantir, but from a fundamental side, this is yelling buy.
Yeah, I think that the whole government angle is interesting too. We know we heard recently as well, there were some different, MPs, I believe in Britain, in the UK, that had some concerns about government involvement with PLTR. So I think that whole area of different expansion beyond this heavy US government concentration, that'll be an interesting look for PLTR going forward. In the meantime, what are your guys' looks here, Sean and Neil, on Palantir today?
Well, it's the fact that it beat that 12% is a huge deal. You can't just continue to have revenue growth at the rate that they're having and not get, eventually you're going to get a bounce with the stock price as well. If you look at it from a weekly standpoint, though, with Palantir, as great as the numbers are, there is like the little nitpick you can make with customers going down, but you're making more money off of them, and that's going to be a big deal. You're growing on both sides of the business, ultimately, and you do think a lot of like the new, hate to say it, but a lot of the new warfare, just the realities that we're in, will keep demand high for them, and that just is what it is. It hasn't really broken this compression on the weekly chart, which can be a good thing. So we're gapping into we're at 145 right now. So on a weekly chart, you're gapping into some new territory, which is ideal because there's room to $160 on that weekly. On the daily, you're really running into today the 200-period moving average, which deserves some respect because it's been a bit of a brick wall. Unfortunately, or I could say it's been an iron dome over the stock recently. But you can see it. There's the dome. It's 3 tests, and you have yet to break out. So without it breaking here above 150 today, I think you're looking dips on it. 37 and 40 are the places I'm looking into. But yeah, it just needs to take out that 200-period moving average, which is close to, it's like 148.5-ish. And it's already tested that and pulled back a little bit. So I would think there's going to be some dips today in Palantir just because of that resistance. But there's also huge breakup potential over the 150. I just don't think that's on a 930 play necessarily.
Yeah, yesterday when I was mentioning that all we had to do was sort of get over this 200-period moving average, I feel like it was a crazy thought. And then now today, it's right in line. And, we can all not like it because of the government contracts, but the commercial side of it is going to blow past the government side of it, right? And it's not all war-based kind of stuff that Palantir does, right? Obviously, when Alex Karp is talking, especially when this company first started going, in the last couple of years, their government contracts were, the part and parcel of what they were showing as revenues, and now all of a sudden, you have your total commercial revenue, $764 million, while government is $809, and one is growing extremely. I mean, one's growing at 150, one's growing at 90%, with the commercial one leading the way. So the next quarter, their commercial revenues will be higher, and that's because, and it's exactly what Alex Karp was saying, is that they're keeping the information private with your customers, and it's not a matter of spitting information into an AI. Like the minute we take our CRM and we upload it into Claude, then Claude has all the information and is learning based on our processes, and then giving our processes to our competitors who are also using Claude, and so the next thing everybody is just sort of in their same world. Well, Palantir keeps all that AI information in-house for the clients themselves, which is why, the government contracts are still going to stay there and they're extremely sticky, right? And why the more adoption that there is for this whole AI sort of cloud and what exhaust comes from it all, the more people realize how they can implement some of the processes in their business, the more business comes to Palantir. And I mean, it's kind of, the cash is huge. Like that's the other thing. No debt or anything. Like these guys, there's no fear of raising. There's no, even Google raised, right? I mean, they're doing their own thing, and it's nice that it is a software, so they don't have like huge capex or anything as far as all that is concerned either. So it's been a struggle bus, this year. I mean, there's no doubt that Palantir on the year is still red. Like we started the year up here at 170 to 180. It's only at 145. There's been much better places to put your money. And honestly, I think this is a nice move up to 150. depending on, how heavy your portfolio is in this name, it may be that. This is why I was saying 160. Like if we can grow and, just like Microsoft, Microsoft came out, put a big middle finger to the shorts on their first day and then continued, to gain another, I think it was 30 or 40% on top of that move. So, Microsoft was up, I think it was, 15 or something like that % on their earnings, and same as Amazon. And then we started to continue to push a little higher. That's kind of what I'm looking for in Palantir. And if we can get a 160, I think that's not a horrible area to think about trimming some out, on this play, because it has been a worry. This was just 110 not too long ago. So, yeah, Palantir, I mean, shout out to some of my friends there in the chat that have messaged and talked about Palantir and want to know if they should buy some. And I said, nothing wrong with buying a little bit there. We had to go through some ups and downs over the last little while, but Palantir is still a super strong stock that I think, will probably be bought into today. But for today's trade, you never know what's happening on earnings, so I would just say you want to look for pre-market breakdowns, so 143 break low probably creates this to tumble all over itself, because, and it's not to equate like Mitch did SoFi with Palantir, but, SoFi's earnings, if we all remember, were this, whoosh to the downside, found it, and then just after, the analysts were able to sit back and look at what the quarter was, and I spoke to Anthony Noto and so on and so forth, then the stock started to rebound upside, and so I just think that with Palantir, it's almost could be the opposite. You have a huge move up right here. We could come back in, settle somewhere, and then start to take off again. So yeah, the first initial move is higher. I hope it lasts. The expected move was 12%, and generally speaking, when we get a move higher than the expectation, the continuation does go forward there. But there we go, another TikTok, I guess.
Shout out to Danger Carlene. Thank you for the gift up on TikTok. Good morning to you as well, all our viewers, but especially thankful to the gift that we got there and any of the messages. I also saw, of course, we had Volcanic as well with the super chat earlier. So we appreciate you. It's a good morning so far with that all-time high that we just sort of tagged into in the future. And we'll see. I mean, Besson was able to talk oil down, but it is rebound. I was just looking at it rebounding a little bit there. But you got to keep your ear to the ground all day long. It was a pretty good drop. It was like $7 on USO, but there was just a pretty decent rebound spike into some prior lows that we got to pay attention to. Well, around this time, or usually around this time, I believe we also have a certain someone who is heading up to the desk looking fresh and clean for some options action.
All right, guys, good morning and welcome. We're going to be taking a look at some options activity, a name that's reporting after the bell, the much anticipated AMD alongside SpaceX. We'll get into that momentarily, ladies and gentlemen. But first things first, we're going to be looking at this $500 marker. I just want to point out the fact that now that this underlying is a little bit more expensive, the options activity has drastically cooled down. And so with the following as well. So, all right, guys, we're going to be looking at this $500 marker here, open interest, 2,200 contracts with volume around 3,900 open and closed on yesterday's session. All right, so this is interesting. We used to see tens of thousands of contracts traded within this specific name. That's not the case, so let's keep an eye out on this $500 marker. That's going to be expiring on Friday. Now, as for the spread, we're sitting on a $45 spread, and our Greeks here, Delta, sitting at that 43-cent metric. Our Gamma exposure, relatively cool, and our Vega down here sitting at 19. So we often talk about implied volatility, and we did a little shift. So I like what some of the individuals were bringing to me yesterday, and I thought that this would be more ideal for this specific segment. So what is our Vega? And I'll give a brief explanation here, is that so for every one, think of it as your delta. So for every $1 change in your underlying, your delta will change. Well, with your Vega, it's 1% in implied volatility. So when you have drastic upticks, you can see how your Vega can really increase the value of your contract. And then when it starts to cool down, the same thing as theta decay almost here, guys. All right, so let's focus on the contract itself. A solid session yesterday, guys, within this specific call contract. Once again, $500 expiring on Friday. 85% return right here. A little bit more, you'll get about 100% at the highs of the day. Once again, we are going to be reporting after the bell, hence you will see an increase in implied volatility. Moving forward, SpaceX, Sharif, we have this $120 marker on the call side of things. Now, as for the open interest and volume, things really cooled down. Now, right out of the gate, after the IPO, this name was in the top 3 and 4 of complete volume through all strikes out of all options and derivative activity, but it's since cooled down drastically, okay, guys? So 6,800 contracts, I don't believe that's enough to hold it up here. So if we do decide to go on a little bit of a rally in SpaceX, I do believe that this supply can be absorbed and the hedgies will unfortunately be underwater at this point. Now, as for our bid in the ask, guys, we're sitting on a $20 spread. Delta looking at 46 cents and our gamma exposure relatively cool. You can see our implied volatility at this point is a little bit cooler, slightly out of the money contract. Now, nothing crazy within the specific contract itself, guys. 81% from yesterday's open, but the majority of this contract has lost its value just due to theta decay. If you zoom out on this specific name, you'll see about 65 to 70% of the value is lost. So it's more or less a scalp that Travman, Ozan, and other participants in our chat will be looking for. Moving forward, we're going to be looking at a potential floor on SpaceX. So we found a supply zone at this $100 marker, guys. Open interest at 24,000 with volume at 18,900, all right? $10 spread, so the liquidity is there. Delta, always keep an eye out on that. It's always going to be negative in regards to put contracts, 22 cents. Your gamma exposure light, and then you can see our Vega also relatively cool, but as we get upticks in implied volatility, don't forget that is going to increase, especially if we exceed our expected move. You'll see an increase within your Vega, and then that will be reflected upon your options contracting. Now, as for this specific name itself, from this peak to the local low, it did lose about 50% of its value, but considering SpaceX was on a slide for the past couple of weeks, you can see the appreciation within this specific contract itself. SpaceX, $100 floor, 120 potentially for some supply, and then also AMD, $500 marker. Let's keep an eye out on it. Send it back to Neil and Sean.
Thanks, Joe. And man, it's a great day going into the earnings already for AMD. Almost 5%. The upside kind of getting the bounce with the rest of the market. They're going to be, I mean, it would be hard pressed for them not to have a strong quarter when Intel already showed you how that GPU is doing for everybody. So, you know, we kind of got the indications that things should be pretty rosy for AMD in the report tonight. It's just a matter of sort of exceeding the price action, because even with yesterday's rally, today's gap up, AMD's actually right back to where it was Friday morning. And that's, you know, yesterday it had a very sizable bounce. Like, it was sitting down at 455 at one point. It was able to get up like $35. So, you know, just keeping in mind that we haven't even broken away from Friday's levels on AMD gives it some actual room to continue to go. But the thing about it, if it was post earnings and it was gapped into this, you'd be thinking breakout. But before the print, I think you take a little bit more of a cautious tone. And then regarding, you know, the name that might have given us an indication of how things might go for AMD, it's a very similar story for Intel. Like, Intel rally yesterday, gap up, and it's also still beneath where we were Friday morning when it just dump fested off like $98. So like, there's still another leg that has to get taken for both these names, and they're kind of related as competitors here. But if you're not really breaking this today, that was a heavy sell zone there on Intel. So the markets are back at the highs, but there's a few names that have to clear out from some of those Friday levels, and it is worth watching them at the open, because if you get a topping tail like you did on the 15, well, you know, respect the fact that it might be up 5%, but you know, if they sell the same 97, 98 zone on Intel in the first 15 minutes, it makes it difficult for them to participate.
I'm already writing down some Nvidia here. Like, you know, you're up 1.6%, 1.7%. You know, any kind of a pullback into the 200 period or something like that could be bought. So I've written down 207. That was yesterday's sort of closing area. I don't think we dipped down into that, but you never know. Right off the jump there, if we do come back in, this 20, 208, 209 sort of top that we've taken out right here is definitely something that we can look at in the spot. So 208.50, 207, an area for Nvidia. I like it. We have numbers at 8:30, and Adara's going to give them to you right about now.
It's 10 a.m. here, bigger numbers of the day with the JOLTS job openings, but here at 8:30, goods trades balance for the month of June. So it's going to be coming in here, forecast negative $73 billion, prior negative $77.6 billion. So we're expecting a slight decrease here, I guess, on a month-over-month basis. Coming in here at negative $73.3 billion, again, estimates of $73 billion. So pretty much in line here with estimates. Again, prior print here, negative $77.6 billion. Not much of a market reaction here on the SPY. While we're here, though, let's talk about Snapchat, SNAP. This was an earnings name, actually pretty good reaction off earnings, still poised to open slightly higher. And aspects of this report were good. Other aspects, including, maybe stagnant DAU growth, not so much, Sharif.
Yeah, and the upcoming lawsuits, Adara, it's all the social media companies are going to have to deal with this at some point. So let's go through the earnings report. So $1.6 billion in revenue, EPS, a negative 10 pennies, but that was better than the negative 12. Let's talk about their subscription and direct revenue, though. So their advertising revenue, which they're known for, grew at a modest amount. We're talking about 9% year over year. That's not bad, right? But when we look at their direct revenue, this is what caught my attention. Direct revenue includes things like Snapchat Plus, memory storage, Lens Plus, more on that in a second. That ripped up 85% year over year. Now it's bringing in $316 million of that top line. And guess what? With that 20% now, accounting for 20%, only 3% penetration of users is now accounting for 20% of the revenue. That's a good combination to have, because if they can grow that 3% number, that top line number can grow substantially. Let's talk about their efficiencies, though, because they were one of the companies that talked about how they're going to use AI to kind of improve efficiencies. They're already doing that. They've saved about 30,000 engineering hours using Gen AI, and that's reduced the total customer support ticket volume by about 62% year to date. Not a bad look at all. Infrastructure and AI CapEx. They're going to spend about $1.65 to $1.7 billion. And the reason why is they have a September 16th Specs AR glasses event where they're expected, of course, to release their latest version of the AR and smart glasses, which is taking on with Meta. So look out for that. But this is what I was showing Joey when it was up here. There's a marked shift in the demographic of who's using Snapchat. I always associate this with like high school students and stuff like that. But their fastest growing segment is 35 years of age and older is the fastest growing category here. And then, as I mentioned, Adara, the explicit management warning about the contingent liability with respect to lawsuits. Evan Spiegel saying, look, there's going to be several upcoming U.S. court trials where youth and safety regulatory scrutiny as well will be in focus later this year. He says that could require fundamental product changes as well as regulatory compliance costs. So some possible money they might have to dish out.
Well, the one interesting thing here, Sharif, and again, I'm not going to ever say the lawsuits are a good thing, but if you've got, apparently a lot of older users, do you think maybe if there are already lawsuits that go against them, it's not going to be as big of a hit as to their user base as it would be for, say, an Instagram where you do have a lot of young
Going forward, sure, but the damage that's been done has been done, right, for the users who are bringing the suit, and those changes weren't around. So I see your point going forward. It limits liability, but it doesn't limit liability for the past history.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about SNAP today, guys?
A couple of thoughts. But before that, just quickly, Wayfair did report and it was up like 18% on the top and bottom. Like EPS beat and then a sales beat as well. So, they've got just what you need apparently with Wayfair. I don't know if Snapchat does. The thing about Snapchat, like that last line about, well, it wasn't maybe the last thing that was said, but 35 plus is the fastest growing segment. I don't necessarily see how that's a badge of honor. Realistically, and if it's coming down to the word is that they're not spending crazily and showing some discipline when it comes to this, when it comes to the wearable. But at the same time, if that's what we're leaning on here, okay, so what do we like about this that over Meta? The 8% short float? It's not 20. It's not even 15. I think that would be a little bit more exciting. Don't get me wrong. Like it's a pretty decent bounce. It found a bit of a level of support, but notice a pattern here with Snapchat. when it's made a low and then tried to bounce. Like, look what the sellers are doing every single time it makes a bottom and tries to bounce. They're like, oh, yeah, that's as far as we're going, and we're not going any further. It failed. You just go back to 2020, late 2024 and 2025. It failed the 200-period moving average. It then made a new base at $8. Failed the 200-period moving average. It then made a base and held $7. Failed the 200-period moving average again at $9. Then it made a base at $4. Hasn't even gotten to the 200 this time, and is starting to reject. Well, showed rejection in around $6. So I look at that and say, well, I don't know. It's telling you sell 6 if it gets there. If it doesn't get there today or post earnings, I mean, it's already gapped down. So it also has the look for a potential like pre-market high fail break as well on Snapchat. It's not a hate or anything. I didn't see anything that got me all that excited about Snapchat whatsoever. So yeah, I'll be looking for an opportunity short. I don't think it gets that's 6 on the daily chart. You're going to need to rally 10% to get to the resistance on the daily. So I think for today, you're looking at something like false break of the pre-market high or like downtrend continuation. But yeah, I'm not bullish on Snapchat at all.
Yeah, I was just gonna say there's 9% short float. So you also have, that as part of the story here where, initially takes off because of the numbers and the report and, people caught short. So that's the punch out. It has come back in. I'd say you just want to look to see if we can break through, yesterday's high there. Snapchat's really, like I said, in my experience, and it's nothing to do with the 35 plus age, it's to do with like the, 12 years old age. And that is that Snapchat is heavily, heavily used in the schools and everything around here, whether or not you like it or not, that is what's happening. So, you just got to be careful with all of that momentum possibly moving forward. Like if those kids continue to use Snapchat through, their years, then yeah, the platform will continue to be strong and they will have some support from the ad revenue business. And I don't know, they were one of the first ones to start about the glasses. That didn't really work out very well either. So we'll have to wait to see if Snapchat can get going. I'd like to see it obviously break above that $6 mark. But yeah, I don't know. We don't really trade it too heavily on this show, but I think today with 3 million shares, it's probably worth a look. And whenever there's a gap, we say play back to VWAP. Well, it's going to do that anyways right there. This is pretty much, I think, what the expected move was. It's underneath it. I would say it was 6%. But yeah, I think the quarter justifies a beat and a raise. So I think that's nice. So down into $5 to me would be the stopping spot. So if you somehow break below that and the quarter all of a sudden is no longer loved, then we can go short. But for now, I think you go long until you break in and around these areas that we had seen yesterday where it finally caught a bid. So 490 or so on Snapchat. But yeah, it's still up 6%. I like the stock down here if you can get it around that $5 mark, and then you just sort of use some of these lows as you're out. So let it come back in a little bit. Nasdaq's still super strong here today, and we've seen a battle back in many names off of negativity. Like Meta was just $520 or $530 not too long ago, up to $580 again. It was $680 not too long ago. So some of these social media names catches tailwinds and headwinds. So let's see what Snapchat story is here today. Up 6%. And yeah, I think the 9% short float is something interesting to look out for as well. But yeah, interesting day today. Meta down, Snapchat up. Some of those Mag 7s, we already looked at those. Like a lot of them are down today.
Yeah, Apple's flat, but the rest are down.
Yeah, the focus is, and that was different yesterday, right? Yesterday, Apple was the only red name in the Mag 7. What about Tesla? I guess that's down as well. Like I can't
actually,
feel
maybe not Tesla.
Today. I can't feel my arms or my.
I think Tesla's actually up.
So it's all good here today. Tesla's up.
Tesla's
yeah.
Up,
so Tesla's one of the up names.
I keep not including Tesla when I'm thinking about the mags anymore, which is wrong. But in some ways, it does kind of do its own thing. Like it almost feels like it would be better to throw Broadcom in there somehow. Like if we're really, yeah, it doesn't. Not that it makes a difference, but I tend to not think of Tesla in the mags anymore. But I actually like Tesla today. It's got deliveries aren't a big deal, but that 25 level got broken out, and that can be a big one. There, I see TNMG is a small capper that's, excuse me, on the radar of some. It just caught Well, there was somebody trying to buy it through the volume-weighted average price a second ago, so that's usually a pretty big level. Lost VWAP, now it's trying to break back above, but might be failing again. Over 100 million shares on this penny stock, so this one has a really good chance to get to that quarter billion mark, maybe even a little bit more than that. So yeah, good look over here on TNMG. Sorry, say again, Sharif. Which one?
VE.
So he's also saying M-O, that's Sharif is also mentioning. M-O-V-E, of course I don't even type the E, is moving. Well, there's a penny stock if you like it. Above VWAP, you've got move up 100%. So there's always something for everybody. Corvex, I want to see what's the float on this sucker. What do we got? 27 million float. Decent, not a lot short here on move. And they signed a multi-year agreement. That's the Nvidia one for MOVE. So yeah, you got penny stocks. You got this one with an Nvidia tie-up here. So you got to pick your poison. Above VWAP and trending higher. And the other thing too, but anytime you look at these, sometimes you just have the ones that aren't as abjectly disastrous on the daily chart. Like they still have their pump and dumps, but like they're making a solid base. So that can be interesting. I just always want to double check to see if there aren't just a bunch of reverse splits here skewing things. So I'm gonna go to eSignal. Yeah, you got a couple in there. You got a 1 for 10 and another one. So this is a name that while upward trending, it has done like the gap reverse. It has done the split story as well. So you're gonna be careful when you're holding on to ones that are gonna be able to do that to you. But yeah, so far so good. And the market just chilling out at the highs. Chilling being the key word, Randy, as we go back to the desk.
We're going to take a look here at Apple, AAPL, a name that I know Sean and Neil just mentioned here. But there are some more updates, Sharif, with this trial. I know you've been watching closely the OpenAI Apple trial here when it comes to, I guess, trade secrets, right? This has been a whole thing now. There's been a preliminary injunction being asked for by Apple as this lawsuit continues.
Yeah, more details today, Derek, coming out from when last we spoke. So let's get right down to what we're looking at here. Apple seeking a preliminary injunction against OpenAI, its hardware subsidiary, IO Products, more on that in a second, as well as former Apple execs. We're talking about Tang Yu Tan and Chang Liu over alleged trade secret theft. So it's not just one entity or one person. It's a plethora of people and entities here. Just to give you guys some background information, this individual, VP Tang Tan, he was telling interview applicants to bring in Apple products as a sort of pseudo show and tell during their interviews with the OpenAI. And he specifically instructed them to do so. And that's what the filing here alleges. There's also active post-departure network access. We know that Chang Liu, he exploited an authentication flaw to access internal servers after leaving. He downloaded over 1,000 pages of data, a proprietary technical data that they can prove, by the way. And then he kind of stupidly, to be honest with you, messaged a cohort of his. He says, LOL, I found I can access the network storage. So funny. I mean, talk about not covering your tracks. But Johnny Ive here, he's not implicated personally, but his IO Products company is. And that's what we're talking about here. So the preliminary injunction and the expedited discovery process that Apple is actually asking the court for here specifically targets IO Products, the hardware venture founded, of course, by Johnny Ive and acquired by OpenAI for $6.5 billion. They're demanding immediate depositions from its corporate representatives. Just from my experience, when you do something like this, you're worried about the destruction or the loss of evidence, right? And that's the point here. We got to get it quickly before there's any sort of foul play. And then there's also the systemic gutting of the core iPhone design groups. So OpenAI specifically targeted Apple employees in the Apple Watch and the iPhone division to the tune of 400 individuals. About 10% of those 400 are under investigation by Apple, by the way. So in isolation, it's not illegal to do that. But when viewed as a whole, with the Tang Yu Tan, the what's his name? Chang Liu and his actions over there, and then you view, sort of OpenAI's gutting of Apple's teams all under one umbrella, it builds a pretty interesting picture. But in isolation, you know, it's not illegal to hire from your competitors.
Now that we've gone into this case here against OpenAI, what's the case for or against trading Apple today, Sean?
I don't know if there is a case against trading Apple. I mean, the only thing about Apple that I'm worried about is this $300 level, because I think it's a buy. Like, I'm worried obviously about, the China risk there. Their guide forward wasn't the greatest. We are worried about the cost of the iPhone. And if they're pushing forward some of the, extended, pieces here, including the memory, including their screens, like they've talked about how, things are going to get a little more expensive. And then we worry about the supply side of it too. Like, what if the demand is there for the iPhone 18 and they can't build enough of them? And then, that's a little bit of an issue as far as that is concerned. But I do like the lack of CapEx spend there. I do like the fact that they have this huge moat with as many install base users that they have there in Apple. I think it's a buy, and I don't really see, honestly, a reason not to buy it. I mean, yesterday it was one of the names that was down, and so it's causing a little bit of concern, the fact that the selling pressure is not necessarily off of Apple yet. But, for all those reasons I just talked about, they missed on their services, which is not great. And they did warn of, potential slowdown there in the supply side. So we'll have to wait to see if the demand can match and exceed current demand. And if so, then do they have enough phones to go around? And we didn't really hear anything about that Fold, I don't think. And I thought that new Apple, I think that's a whole other segment that could be something strong for Apple. And that is, that whole foldable phone getting more like a mini iPad there, and see how that winds up working. I think there will be a lot of adoption to that, but that will take a couple go arounds, right? I'm not sure everybody will hop right in there and buy that. But as far as the stock is looking, you're underneath the 200 period moving average. I'd love to get above that and sort of say, you know what, let's run this 303.50 and then hit it to the long side. Yesterday was my number one stock to trade, but it was only because we had waited for these dip down opportunities and then found this little bottom right into there. And we hit it once, and then we hit it twice, and then that third time it didn't work. And I believe in the afternoon, it was an okay idea to go short there off VWAP. So yeah, right now it's kind of just bundling down here. I think a key price is going to be 300. I mean, that's natural. And I just don't think we get there today. So for me, it's like a rip higher through this 303.50 kind of closing area, and then Apple joins the party. I mean, the Nasdaq's up 1% today, so Apple should join that, and the ES also up 0.3. So yeah, I like Apple. I just think that day 3 here, is this day 3 or maybe day 4 off of their earnings report? So we had it on, it was Thursday night or Wednesday night, and you had Thursday, Friday, Monday. So today, today being Tuesday, we're starting to think about potentially coming in and buying Apple. But we do keep seeing in the chat, and if the reads are right, we have the right setups, but of course we have the wrong size, okay? So here's the truth. You've all got the skills. Your account size is just too small. Trade Funder has changed that. 100K for stocks, 25K for options, and that's today. You get to keep 80% paid every single Friday. Never risk your own money. $99 to start, and it's refunded if you're good enough to have a first qualifying payout. So it's free, guys. You can start in an hour, no evaluation, no background checks, just you and the size that you are looking for. Scan that QR code on your screen. It's tradefunder.com. Choose stocks or options on that platform. And again, get involved in the next hour with those guys. Scan it, let us know what you think of it. Put some comments there in the chat. But again, there it is right there. Scan that QR code. Let us know about Trade Funder. We want to thank them for sponsoring the first hour of the show. We also want to thank Joe for always running down a great market overview with the upgrades and downgrades, and it's going to happen now. And I like the new look. I mean, we're really starting to step it up there.
Level up.
And see how it's market downgrades, and notice the colors are red. So it's very,
it should be.
It's a very elite level, kind of next level stuff happening over there. So let's go to the back and find out what the handsome man wants to talk about.
Thank you, guys. All right, yeah, I figured we'd keep it correlated here with the downgrade and red, guys. At the top of our list, let's take a look at some of our analyst actions. Yes, surprisingly so, Walmart with the downgrade here today, guys. by Oppenheimer. So we're getting an outperform rating to perform. Now, with no specific target here, but the firm stating some headwinds here in the U.S. pharmacy business, which could drive a comp shortfall. Now, we're negative 1.5% here this morning. The firm also stating that it sees a less compelling outperformance case for the company in the near term. Now, moving forward, we'll take a look at another downgrade. Nike on the list once again here, guys. A couple of issues with this company. Once again, we're down 3.4%, but JPMorgan giving them the downgrade, also lowering its price target to $47, going from a neutral weight to an underweight. But I believe the major issue here is China, guys, facing a $1 billion revenue headwind in China based of online retail terminating all sales. So that's a big issue. We've already seen the decline in sales within China as well too. So not a good look for the athleisure wear giant. Moving forward, we'll take a look at some more positive things, Katina Man. Palantir at the top of our upgrades list, up a staggering 14% in the pre-market. Fantastic report and a lot to talk about, which we will throughout the whole intraday session. Now, a $245 price target, that is up from $200. Citi giving them the nod. We're holding on to that buy rating as well too. So the company had revenue growth to 93% in Q2, and its profitability set new records, also raising current quarter guidance. That's most definitely going to help you with the double-digit gain here this morning. Now, moving forward, we'll take a look at Snapchat. Snapchat getting the approval with a neutral weight rating, a $6 price target. Wells Fargo giving them the nod. You're up 6% here this morning. Although a buoyant digital ad market, we're not saying that the turnaround is complete just yet, but they're clearly on the right trajectory. The firm also citing a beat and a raise quarterly, but notes it is unclear how much of it is outperformance is structurally based or just temporary. World Cup helping the flow within Snapchat as well too. So there is your market upgrades and downgrades, guys.
Thank you there, Joe. And I see Nike got that I'm calling it like the Freddy Krueger or the bleeding swoosh logo continuously. I suppose until it breaks out of this malaise, that's just how it's going to be. But yeah, not looking very good. I guess I can show the PA chart here for Nike. I mean, the good news is Nike has not lost the fresh 52-week low underneath $40. And the bad news, of course, is that it seems like it's destined to do it almost any time. So yeah, lower highs just keep getting put in. It can't hold above the 50-period moving average. It's close enough that I think you're starting to get there, that you're looking for that flat bottom break on Nike. And $40 is just a stone's throw away for this stock. Yeah, not looking too good whatsoever for them. It shouldn't be too big of a surprise, I don't think. And it doesn't help when the AI trade goes back on, because I feel like there's a better chance for some bottom feeders or names of different sectors, like in this case retail, to go when people are selling things that have been running. On a better note, and I'm not saying this is like the greatest thing of all time, but one of these team names is, I'm talking about Lululemon, is actually above the 50, don't look now, but it's above the 50-period moving average and very subtly trying to make a bit of a breakout. So one of these two beleaguered names is actually doing a little something off the lows, and it's not Nike. Sorry, Nike shareholders, of which I'm not one. But I don't own Lulu either. I've traded it a couple times, but at least it's doing something. There's a there on the chart as opposed to Nike.
Yeah, on that Lulu earnings report, we thought that it was a little bit of a kitchen sink, and that went down to 104, and now it's at 120. So there you go, 20% increase there in Lululemon. So that's been a nice one there. I have on my sticky note today the Walmart short there. You know, I like that downgrade. I think it makes sense the way the stock is moving. And I think this is going to be good buy zones here, like around 100 flat or so. But that's still 9% lower from here. And this is the area that I'm looking at, 111. So if we can short Walmart, I'm just putting the sticky note together right now. Underneath 111, I have it on there today. So we'll see if it gets that potential bounce zone as well, right? And that's kind of what I want to look at. I don't know if we want to smash this 108 short. I don't think there's enough in, like, it's just a downgrade. It's not, the end of the world here for Walmart, but definitely not performing like some of those other retail names. We looked at Target, Urban Outfitters, some different names like that. I mean, Walmart's just a completely different beast. They're just huge. And it's just right now, not much love for WMT as the focus has been put back on, high beta names that will move with the market and give you a little bit of alpha as we talk some college there, alpha, beta, so on and so forth. The U.S. adjusts tariffs on products such as welding machines.
Welding machines and
all right, so the industrial revolution is paused or continuing there as we have now tariffs on such products. And yeah, I mean, look, I think people, especially in the United States, you want those heavy machineries to be built there. And so I would think that would make a lot of sense to tariff, machines and machine parts coming in from other countries. So I think that's good. If I knew what DOCN was, I could have a thought on it. So let me just have a look here. Digital Ocean Holdings. Yeah, I mean, this seems like a decent stock, DOCN. I don't know if
they reported this.
I was going to say, I'm not sure if they reported again there.
The call's happening right now on Digital
so
Ocean.
Maybe take it easy until you get some of that call in.
But they did, so they beat on EPS. Looks like 45 cents versus 26 is a pretty good beat. And then their sales was a slight beat, 281 versus 279. They raised their guidance, so that looks good. So a beat and a raise here, but with the call going on now on a stock that's done 500,000 shares, that's about as, be a little bit cautious here because I don't know. I'm looking at beats and guidance raises, and you're seeing DigitalOcean down 9.5%. So you're going to try to digest what's going on in the call. Like, what are they hating about this?
Yeah.
For it to be down 9%, because at the first glance. And it's not always about beating expectations, but like how many other names we've seen this exact profile pull back off the highs, and then they're ramping on their beats on earnings. So for whatever is holding this down, you're probably going to want to find out in the call what's dragging on it, because down 9 points is not what you want to see. Not in a relief rally environment, not with the market up. And it's a bad look. Like usually we'll say when cohorts are all going upside, you pay close attention to who's getting the reversal, and it looks like, unfortunately, they are one of them. But yeah, the call's on now, so it's probably going to be done by the time of the open. Usually you would think so, and then you can get a better read on what's causing the move downside here.
Let's talk about Pfizer here. A quick injection of PFE earnings ahead of the rundown, which will start imminently here. Pfizer, this report itself was not bad. Guidance, if I recall, was a little bit tepid going forward here for Pfizer, and their revenue has been kind of stagnating, more or less in a range over the last couple of quarters here, Sharif.
Not much of a product pipeline, Adair, and even when they acquire their way into new products, it's growing okay. 18% for this new PAD7 Nurtec, which is not bad, but it's not really being offset by the loss of the exclusivity, their patent expirations, which of course have a life duration. Look, 2020 Q2 earnings report here, 15.03 billion ahead of the 14.4, 77 pennies EPS ahead of the 68 expected, but that's adjusted. So when we look at GAAP, as we typically do, they lost money. They lost about 4 pennies per share when we're looking at GAAP EPS here. That was due to a $4.3 billion non-cash intangible asset impairment charge. Don't know what it's for. COVID-19 also factoring in here. They cut their COVID-19 Paxlovid guidance from $5 billion to $4 billion, but that's being raised by non-COVID-19 products, which they think is going to offset by $1.5 billion. And they're going to save money, Adair, $2.5 billion cost reduction plan there through 27 to 29.
How are you guys feeling about PFE here?
I don't know. I spent the time looking at the Merck chart because it's just better. It's true. I don't know what to tell you. Like, everyone's got a patent cliff. Everyone's got those concerns going forward and is finding a way to function and be better. This has been, they're just a dog right now, Pfizer. So like I don't know, you're not dividend chasing with this. Sometimes it catches a long enough consolidation that you get a bounce and then it goes like 10, 15% to the upside. Or, and this is a crazy thought because sometimes you have to think outside, or just buy something which turned into an uptrend. Like there's plenty of names that have been fantastic. I don't want to get into. We talk about all the strongest names in the group all the time, but like you remember that Merck was in just as bad of a malaise as well, and then since the beginning of this year, or late last year, has been breaking out. And you can buy dips in this. It's been trending higher, and Pfizer just continues to go sideways. So I don't know. I mean, what do they say? Like insanity is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting a different result. So expecting a bounce on Pfizer at some point becomes insanity, especially when other names have been doing just fine. So yeah, take Merck. Adam James Abroad, thank you for the super chat here. NUWE, small float, big short percentage, and news. New Ellis, didn't this go the other day? I feel like we have a lot of like repeat. Maybe it was a different name.
What was it?
Yeah, I felt like this one made a move recently.
They did move recently. You're correct, Neil. It was last week.
And Darren knows. So they reported 9 days, but Nuvelis expanding capabilities of Aquadex smart flow system into broader extracorporeal therapy platform. The float is 90,000. Huh? The float is 90,000 shares. Wow. Okay. Well, it's probably like reverse splits. So, probably reverse splits. And if it's really that small, those are probably reverse splits. You kind of know the drill with these. Have fun in them because I'm willing to bet these guys will probably want to reverse split or do some kind of an offering so that it can resume its usual. But yeah, it looks like they do have a catalyst. It's a tiny float. It is breaking out the highs. Just be careful. Be careful. That's a habitual line stepper. That bad boy over there.
We put up, I asked everybody what they're trying to trade today. We're looking at Palantir and Caterpillar. Not one person mentioned Caterpillar, and we haven't really touched too much on that. But there we go. Dane Generous is saying Palantir is your guy. We like that. ONDS, Ondas, getting a lot of love on the feed as well. Dave Clark, the same kind of thing there. UMAC, Microsoft, there in ONDS. And then our guy Dustin is loving gold, everything gold. I responded to that one as well. Palantir, I like Amazon there, so that's a good one there, Keith. We can look at Amazon. Staying on the Google trade, I never think there's anything wrong with getting in and out of Alphabet. I think that could be a really great trade there. And Cater on the news as well, very much where I am on the sticky notes now out. Pretty much, I have everything as a long, and then I have Walmart as a short. So I forgot about USO actually. That's probably going to be a decent short now today as it's starting to go. And then here we go. I missed this one. You mentioned Caterpillar there, Northwest Sasquatch. I also like the Nvidia trade. Gavin likes Intel. I said watch out for Intel at $100 break. That could be something interesting. NVDL. So there's a levered name there, 2 times long for Adri trades. They're also looking at Palantir. What my thing about Palantir is, so here's ONDS, by the way. A lot of people loving some Ondas. That's a NASDAQ name. So let's go over and have a quick look at that one. But thanks for everybody for participating in that little lookout there. But yeah, good name from yesterday. I was saying this is getting a lot of love on the feed. Nice strong name there yesterday and a nice pull today again for ONDS, up 2.5%. And interesting levels breaking out through. Would love to see a 9 break. I think if we can get a 9 break on Ondas, we could actually push that through and potentially get up into this 1150, which would be that next sort of area. And then on a good upgrade, downgrade, whatever. I'm not sure if they've reported yet. That's a nice move through into 1350. So that would be huge to go from 8 to 1350. But first take here, this $9 break, like get all this garbage out of here over the last month, get above. It's actually like 875. We can actually get exact 880 there, I think, on that little break. And then, supported by these bottom candles as well. So yeah, 880, 870. We're getting really close to that right now for Ondas. And no surprise there that we dropped off of that 870. So good spot there for ONDS. We'll see if it can get going back up to the upside as well. All right, it's 9:02, running a little late on our rundown. So let's go back over the desk. We have a new watch list. Let us know in the chat there what you guys think of the new formatted watch list. We'd like to get some feedback on that. And yeah, pretty clean, pretty easy to read, I think, but different, right? And when things are different, it takes a minute. So, get a quick look at that and let us know what you think of the new watch list. Yeah, I should be buying the QQQs today as well. So good look on the futures. We'll be doing that. Ricardo Senior Trader there in the chat. But 9:03, back over the desk and let's get this started.
757 and 2/3, guys, is where we closed out yesterday on the SPY, but we just wicked into all-time highs, not by a lot, but by a little here. 760.93 is the all-time high on the SPY. We're right back into those late May, early June 760 highs, so that's going to be, of course, R1. We're going to look to clear and hold. We're above it right now, 760, but we got to hold it at the open in order to kind of use it as support. So we're going to say 760 is going to be R1. If we clear that, you know, it's a blue sky setup. We've never been up here before. If we start selling off, who knows what happens? 755 is support.
As we said, guys, we have a brand new watch list. Please, sincerely, let us know what you think about it. And you can always sign up for this watch list for free. You can go right to your inbox. You can either use the URL that's going to be on your screen in just a second here. There it is. Or you can use the link in the description. This will give you info on earnings that reported or have yet to come that are going to be on tap. It'll give you a look at any economic data that's going to be in play today. For example, the JOLTS job openings at 10 a.m. So there's lots to look at here in the watch list. And at the top of the watch list, the top of everybody's minds today is Alex Karp and his AI giant Palantir. Massive growth, strong guidance. There's really not a lot, if any, negativity in this report beyond, as you mentioned earlier, Sharif, maybe shrinking regional dominance here.
Yeah, that's the problem, Madera. I mean, we talked about this on the midday show yesterday. Palantir is now starting to be viewed a little unfavorably by certain parts of, you know, the public, right? And you're seeing it on both sides of the political spectrum. That's what caught my attention. But let's talk about the earnings. That's what we're talking about right now. 1.94 billion in revenue, way ahead of the 1.8 billion expected, with EPS coming in. This is adjusted EPS coming in at 41 pennies instead of 34. That EPS was boosted by about 3 pennies per share as a result of their investment into SpaceX. Early investors they were, and they cleaned up pretty nice. But there is extreme concentration in the United States. U.S. revenue accounts for 81% of all their revenue. Now, it is broken up pretty nicely, about a 50-50 split. When you look at government revenue versus commercial revenue, that's something we've aspired for because they've been typically reliant more on government revenue. But listen to this, guys. I mean, their U.S. commercial revenue, almost 150% year-over-year bump. But when you look at their customer growth, 35% year-over-year increase in customer growth. So what they're doing is they're extracting more money per customer rather than growing their customer base. Something to think about. And then they're going to say they've got $9.2 billion in debt-free cash there. They got zero debt on their balance sheet.
Yeah, I think the zero debt is a good look for Palantir. Sean, I know you love this name. For both you and Neil, what are your thoughts on this from a trading perspective, as it's now apparently up 16% pre-market?
I don't like, yeah, no, I mean, it's a good name. I don't want to say, I mean, I thank you, Adair. I mean, I'm wearing the hat here, but I don't necessarily love this name as much as obviously we did when it was just getting going. I mean, now this is a pretty, it's hard to say it's a mature company as far as the stock market's concerned, but, you know, there's still 23 years. This is not like a brand new company here, although we only hit the market, I think, 4 years ago. But Palantir right now, like I had been saying, I still think it's worth trimming a little bit up here near 160. It does have some downside pressures to it, but now we've sort of justified, you know, there's no spend happening. They're sitting on, what was it, a couple $1 billion there in cash. So they're really liquid. The rule of 40 is crushing it for these guys here with Palantir. And it's just a matter of taking out this 200 period moving average, which is that's that next step. Like yesterday when we were down here and I said, you know, what we'll look for is the 200 period moving average. I did think that was a little unreasonable, but there we are, up 16%. I mean, we love the fact, and I sat here yesterday when we talked about Palantir pretty much at the same time, and it was like, okay, they need to come up with something a little different and not just so reliant on these government contracts. And it looks like they've done that with 149% increase now in their commercial side. And that's going to overtake. That's at 770 billion. The sticky and ever-growing government contracts are 800 million. So the next quarter, the commercial side will overtake it. And then you'll start to get a little bit of a reweighting on that, because not only now are they like, you know, B to G, like business to government, now they're like, you know, B to C, and they're starting to now definitely increase their presence on the safety and the security side of things as far as data is concerned. So I really like all of that. You know, compute's not going to be a problem. They're a software company. So as long as they just keep on, you know, pumping out, you know, that sort of back end that businesses need, and, you know, sort of their AIP continues to sort of drill higher in companies' needs and necessities. Once you're locked in, you're locked in. It's like NVIDIA. Like once you're using their software, you know, the GPUs are just another thing. Like, you need to have the software that combines the whole program together. And I think that Palantir now justifies that and has that. And ever growing now commercial can be sticky as well. So, you know, I think Palantir, as long as their prices remain affordable, they will continue to climb in this environment. And it's been nice to see Microsoft. So I would just give this, we saw Amazon and Microsoft have like a 3-day rally on good earnings. So let's just see. A little nervous, right? And so I think if we get back up to 160, that would be a spot that we could trim a little bit more of Palantir and just, you know, get into some different names again. But yeah, we really like the stock. And for today's trade, going to be tough. I'm always looking at the 200 period moving average whenever there's earnings, but the expected move was 12%. Now you're at 16. So there is a potential for a pullback here of a couple percentage points, which gets us into that low 140 mark. So yeah, I think first look is a look at VWAP, and then the next look is right here at 140 for now. So I like Palantir, and I think a big thing that's going to help this off the open would be whatever we wind up seeing right here. And right now we don't have NASDAQ names. They come at 925. So I just feel that in this space right now, this could come with a sell. And if it does, let it base, and then we can rip this thing a little bit higher. My best trades have still come like after 945. I think it's just the more calm down approach here to trading earnings names is the best way to go about it. So we'll wait to see what winds up happening here with Palantir.
And it wouldn't be the first time with Palantir if it were in, it hasn't been as bullish as before, but certainly post earnings, when it has gapped in the past, we've seen the situation where it tries to pull the dip in. You throw in the fact that it got pretty darn close to the 200 period, which has been rejected. So I can see some profit takers. Prior highs set you up with the 140. That's why I'm looking at the same level. And it also, if it's going to have a confluence with, you know, aftermarket resistance and the 200 period, then all for it. At the time when he sat down, it was under VWAP and trending down at the moment, which made it much more likely that you would get a dip buy. But now that it's running, I don't want to be in. I'm not looking at this as a break because of that 200 period that's sitting there on the daily. But it is a good setup for PLTR. I just want to bring up a weekly chart if I can on Palantir very quickly, because on the weekly, if you confirm, because again, give it the 3-day rule, and that'll mean by the end of the week, we're going to be confirming that we're closing above this $140 level, and then that takes you into the 160. I just feel like the run to 160, don't want to try that breakout today. You're going to look for dips into it and inventory into the 160 level. It's a massive, massive level up there on the weekly chart. So I do think it might be a later in the week or possibly next week rally into that, or to test that 160 at a bare minimum.
We're going to talk here about Caterpillar, a name that I don't think is really often here on this rundown or on this watch list, but we have to talk about CAT. They had strong year-over-year revenue growth of at least 10% in each of its revenue categories. Overall revenue strong, EPS strong. They really didn't miss much here.
A record quarter, Adara. Record quarter, $20.54 billion in revenue. Sorry, the fly is around. Ahead of the 19.24 expected, with adjusted EPS crushing the expectations, 817 versus the 619 that is adjusted, though. There was a one-off impairment charge, about $140 million that brought that down, but still very positive. But look, IEPA factored in here. They got some money back, a little bit less than $400 million in tariff refunds, which of course are a one-line item. They did lift operating margins to about 20.9%. But the growth here really shifted from just simply price hikes, which Caterpillar has relied on in the past, to actually volume growth. And the volume growth accounted for $3.1 billion in increases, while the price hikes a little bit less than $600 million. So a lot of good volume increases, not just increasing the price on your current customers. And then their power and their energy segment. Goodness gracious, we've been talking about this a lot. You need all this power to power data centers, gas turbines, diesel turbines. And they are, well, at least a few months ago, they were in a 2-year backlog to get your hands on these things so they could basically ask whatever price they wanted. That ripped up 30% year over year and accounted for about $2 billion in their revenue. Last but not least, Adara, with all these price increases, all these volume increases, there's a lot of cash on hand. In fact, $4.4 billion, of which they put 2.2 back in the shareholders' hand vis-a-vis share buybacks as well as dividends, Adara. They have got $6.7 billion in cash, operating cash flow, free cash flow combined. It's a lot of money to have, especially when you need to grow.
Yeah, interesting look here for Caterpillar. I want to mention no moves on this, but just be aware here. Nvidia just made an announcement with regards to AI guidelines. They said they're working with Cisco and CrowdStrike on drafting safe AI guidelines. If I get any updates on this, I'll keep you posted, but none of these stocks are moving. How do you feel about Caterpillar, guys?
I mean, they just confirmed the growth story is still there going forward. So, look, I love Caterpillar. It's like the two biggest non-tech holdings for myself are Lilly and Caterpillar. Now, I like GE Vernova to get even bigger, which is why I bought the dip there, not here. Wish I had them both. It is what it is. And that just is what it is. Caterpillar is going to end up bouncing more than Vernova has. With this earnings report is insane. So great numbers for them. Look, you're going to want to see, do we hold both two things? $900 was an obvious resistance spot. Zoom back in. Here was an obvious resistance spot going into the report. And then you get the 50 period. So a hold over that kind of confirms that we're all well and good after this 12% update. It's a massive day for Caterpillar in terms of percentage. So sometimes you will see that profit taking off of the open. So give the 3-day rule, hold 900, and then you're looking like you're all systems go. But what this does do is, I mean, it's giving confirmation everywhere. Like you're getting, you saw all the chip names to the upside. You're seeing the memory names to the upside. And yesterday, Nvidia had that 200 breakout. Now, I know it had broken 200 on Friday, but remember, a lot of that was like that afternoon craziness in the last little bit because of window dressing. But that 200 break was pretty clean. And then for continuation, I like this. I think it's a continuation play for whether it's chips. I don't care where you're looking in the AI play. Like Caterpillar, this is just a massive, massive beat for them. And I think there's going to be a moment where when we have another big drawback and you're reminded that yes, Caterpillar does have another core business, and absolutely it is a fantastic company, but it is very much an AI data center play right now. The growth that you are getting and the rally that you are seeing is because of that. So, when we have the hyperscalers report every single quarter, when we have Nvidia report, you remember where Caterpillar is lying right now, where it shows up on one of your sector boards. It's all well and good. Where it's actually and what it's actually moving based on is very different from what this stock was in the past. And you keep that in the back of your mind. But today, it's rising all the tides. So we love them.
Yeah, no, I was just looking back. I mean, when we had our picks that we had made here, I was just looking at them, and it's right into here. And if you just go over here, I just want to show you that these are the picks. Like, and it's all about timing sometimes. Google, this was, we made these picks. I don't know I don't know if it shows it doesn't show the details of the date, but I was looking at it for Caterpillar to be long at 883. We did have that dump down. Just look at the big names on here, right? It's Microsoft's up 27%, and we put these all on. So 883, it was when we did this little game. It must have been in here somewhere, mid-July. Ish, 17th. Okay, so that would make sense. Yeah, that's right where we are right here. So on the 17th. So now you're the 17th over to the 4th. So only 2 weeks in. Google 17%, Microsoft 27%. This Caterpillar number is now going to turn green today, right? So we're long at 883. It's at 931. Just trying to show you that there's like a lot of, and we have J&J and Qualcomm. Those names will be back to where they need to be as well. The idea behind all of this is just what a difference a report can do. It's not that we didn't know that Caterpillar was going to be strong. It just got hit, right? It got sold off. Everything got destroyed in that whole data center play. And we talked about the hedge fund getting blown up, Nebius and CoreWeave. We've seen those guys have 25% moves back up to the upside. So I don't think that necessarily Caterpillar, look, it was a great quarter, but there's still a lot of froth in this name. I mean, to get back to 1100 would be super nice. And, it's a recent, I bought this when I bought it so I'm long here at 880 as well. So that's a nice move to go to the high side. But Caterpillar was a $200 stock a year ago, and it is well cooking for all the reasons that Neil had mentioned there. It's just, when the wheels come off of this sort of build out, then yeah, Caterpillar is going to tank. So just a matter of trying to wait to see if we can get back up there. Then we'll probably, sell it and then, put it back into some sort of an index or something, or even the XLI, the industrial ETF. I'm excited about, getting my money back in a little bit more now on Caterpillar. I do still think it's a sell if we do have a little bit of an extension into 1050 new highs. We never like to, get out of everything when it's up to new highs, but I think for Caterpillar, just kind of like what we did with ARM. It went from 200 to 400 in like 2 weeks. that's a double. We're not going to get a double in Caterpillar, but if we can get a big aggressive move right there, I think we should potentially exit out of some of that position. But Caterpillar, very comfortable trade. I don't think it has some downside from here. Looks like it just wants to go higher, CAT.
Now it's time to talk about SPOT, Spotify, hanging out near pre-market lows. Almost the inverse Caterpillar here. Now, not everything about this report was bad, but they did miss on revenue. Some of their guidance was a little bit tepid. Overall, this is not nearly as clean of a report as the other two that we just spoke about here.
Yeah, it's not, but there was some good stuff. So let's talk about that first, then I'll tell you where, hit the fan. 300 million premium subscribers now. That's about 7 million more than they had last time around, but they did miss on earnings, as Adira mentioned, 261 euros, that is, EPS versus the 280 expected. More on that in a second. But there is some weakness here now in the ad-supported revenue. So overall margins dipped in a little bit there. So while premium subscriptions grew nicely, 16%, no problem there, the ad-supported revenue only grew 3% year over year. And that kind of is bottlenecking a little bit some of the growth. Something to think about there. They did have record gross margins, but that was masked by a non-operational EPS hit. What is that? Well, they took basically a $655 million hit, which they're blaming on what's it called? And Forex headwind, as well as some tax accruals that they couldn't get removed. And also, their North American and their European markets, those are the two most mature that they have, growing a lot slower than their international market, which kind of hurt a little bit their MAUs, their monthly active users. But this is kind of what I liked a little bit here. Not liked, but kind of caught my attention. There's going to be new AI music monetization agreements here. So listen to this. So they finalized a new licensing framework that allows users to legally generate not just AI covers, but remixes, scripts, songs, and establishes a direct royalty share split between the users, the performing artists, and the songwriters. So AI music coming to Spotify near you.
Yeah, and if you guys remember what the stock did on that universal AI agreement announcement, massive rally. So clearly, the stock likes this, users like this. Do you guys like this as a trade today here for SPOT? Also, this just came in, no move on this, but Ford announcing July 2026 sales.
Okay, well, remember it's the beginning of the month, so we get some automotive numbers, obviously. Tesla had their delivery numbers as well, but look, Spotify, yeah, they like that news last time to the same place, and where it's selling off, and nothing has really changed here. You can see the lower highs, the 520 rejection. Doesn't matter, it's not going to get there today, so that kind of becomes an irrelevant level for Spotify. There's a lot of competition here, and you'd like to think some innovation. I think that they're trying to pull some levers that will allow them to get back to the type of growth where they can start pulling in more in their core market. But Apple, Amazon are strong competitors that they have to deal with, who don't necessarily have to worry about those divisions making them money. They're just keeping you in an ecosystem. That's a tough challenge, tough road to hoe. It's not a flat bottom break, unfortunately. It's like 440 would be a much bigger level for it to break down that, and then obviously, hey, it's not 420, it's actually 410. Those are two bigger levels. But if it was underneath 440, I would be thinking that that's like a short continuation. But it's just not quite moving enough yet. I think if we're going off script on an earnings name, Snapchat probably gives you a bit of a better chance to move around. So I'll be looking at that. But Spotify, it's a pass for me. I just feel like what are we getting out of Spotify that you're not already getting by owning Amazon or Apple? And then you get a heck of a lot more with those two names too.
Yeah, I was a Spotify subscriber maybe 20 years ago or something, and haven't really gone back just because we have the Apple, and it's just like it's all wrapped into one little platform there that we use on Apple. But at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of people that like Spotify, so it's been in this range, So I don't think why it can't get back into this $400 bottom, 420 possibly as a middle spot there. But yeah, down 5%. I didn't really look at this one today. Spread is always a little too, thank you, Rob, is always a little bit too spready for me, right? I mean, right now it's $5. We'll see how this name wants to open up. This is a New York name, so we can have a quick little look to see if there is anything on the imbalance locator there for Spotify. No, I don't see anything right now. And if there was, it was nothing super, outrageous or anything like that. So yeah, Spotify down 5%. Yeah, pretty good. I think if you're looking for the bottom, you want to see a 455 break. We just did break it. It held 452. So if you're caught long on this name, you're in a zone where it should hold, I would think. And breaking below this 440 would be a problem. But I don't think that's going to happen today. Down 5% Spotify. Not a name I'm super excited about, to be honest with you. So let's go back over and get another update here on U.S. China, something that will definitely move the markets.
Yeah, I've definitely seen some people in the chat here talking about some of these names. You've got the likes of AAOI, GLW, a name that I know Sean is interested in, LITE. A lot of these optical related names here moving higher on reports that Trump administration drafting a ban on U.S. imports of new Chinese data center hardware. Now, these U.S.-China tensions again heating up ahead of a planned visit of Chinese leader Xi to the U.S. This is going to get pretty interesting for a lot of these stocks and I think for the market as a whole.
Optical transceivers are what's in focus here, guys. COHR added to the list as well. So listen, this is a very interesting kind of attempt or approach by the Trump administration. They're bypassing commerce and they're going directly to FCC. And that's not just bypassing commerce, but they're bypassing the entire legislative branch. So rather than relying on the traditional export controls or, U.S. trade representative tariffs or restrictions being drafted through the FCC, they are being kind of covered by this, what they're called covered lists. It's the same national security mechanism that banned Huawei, that banned ZTE and these Chinese drones as well, and that it enforces an immediate import block without actually requiring congressional approval. So, fast tracking this whole thing. But look, CapEx here and deployment delays for hyperscalers. So what do I mean by that? So even though this buoys some the North American AAOI, LIT, COHR, what it does is it inflates the prices on the hyperscalers, your AWSs, your Azures, your Google Cloud, as they're going to have to pay more for their data construction costs. So something to think about there. It boosts one, but it hurts the other. So what I'd be looking for, possibly an increase in CapEx next time we get earnings from the hyperscalers. But there is a problem here with the North American companies scaling on their own if this Chinese ban goes through. So a domestic pivot is kind of constrained by critical substrate. Specifically, what we're talking about is indium phosphide, which is basically put in these laser chips, and there's a shortage in that's becoming more acute. And the actually Lumentum CEO, Michael Hurlston, he said that it's becoming more acute than the memory market constraints, meaning that U.S. suppliers can't instantly scale production to absorb the Chinese volume. So one of the Chinese holders here, he has about 27% of the global market share when it comes to optics. So something to think about there. I don't think the North Americans can just, start producing all that quickly.
And just be aware here, guys, I'm seeing a couple reports from Al Arabiya and Al Hadath suggesting that there could be an announcement made regarding the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz within a couple hours or tomorrow. Again, keep an eye, potential Strait of Hormuz announcement. This could also be absolutely nothing, so just keep posted. But here's the NASDAQ. USO did actually move a little bit lower when we first started hearing these reports. As I get details, I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, thanks, Adair. That's the key. I mean, USO did actually break the low of the day on that announcement, so I want to thank you for that. Also, very quickly, 925 did hit. Some imbalances, not much. Snapchat, 500,000 to the buy side. IBIT, 360 sell. SpaceX, 300 buy side. Yeah. Google, 280,000 sell. Nike, that was a downgrade, and 200,000 to the sell side. That looks like, ONDS, I just saw
that
ONDS
sell on
there.
Google brought it down like
50.
$2.
Yeah, Google, that's, 300,000, remember, keep in mind the stock price, right? So Google's a little bit more expensive. You want to see a bigger number. And, I guess people might care about Nokia at 1 million shares to the buy side. I don't think many are going to be trading like day trading a coherent, pretty thinly traded stock. AOI could possibly be in play. These are great runs. But I think one thing to keep in mind is, that CMXT, the Chinese memory name, is not on any ban list or anything. But there's a tit for tat goes back and forth. Any expansion there, if they were even remotely considered to get on a list, would be pretty bullish for the SK Hynix and the MUs and the SanDisks of the world. So that's the kind of a headline that I'd be waiting for. If it did, that'd be a great ramp job. But for anything somewhat China related, I guess Nvidia is not really China related, but hey, it's a good way to segue it into it. They just caught what could have been a buy imbalance. What just spiked Nvidia up there? No, not really. Amazon, 300,000 sell. Palantir now 270. But Nvidia just caught a bit and just broke the 211.
Yeah,
so,
wow.
Yeah, don't know if it wants to pull back into the prior day close, Prior day highs sit at 208.5, triple top on Nvidia. So that can be another place to look. The market seems like it's determined to open at the highs after these imbalances hit.
Yeah, and why not? All right, a minute and a half to go. And yeah, I was just looking here at SpaceX. I don't see it here anymore, but it was on here. So yeah, SpaceX, there it is. What happens when the imbalance is there and then when it comes off. So up $1, down $1. I have it written down here on my note, and it was, hopefully it's going to be a decent opportunity today to get involved. I want to thank everyone. I got to change this, man. Almost 600,000 subscribers right now to Trader TV Live. If you are watching, make sure you get involved right now. Say hi to us, and we'll say hi back to you there in the chat. Nvidia long, SpaceX long, SoFi long, if we get that in a Walmart short. So a couple of ideas to look at right into there. But SpaceX, my long is not going to start till about 113, which was this little level right there. That's 112 into 113 from yesterday. We'll see if that winds up hitting. I'm sitting there with a bid on SpaceX. And then the name that we didn't cover off very much in the pre-market was SoFi. It's just the way this has been moving. I really enjoyed getting long there on SoFi back at $15 on its earnings day, or maybe it was day 2, right into here. That's 16, so it had to have been this day. Right down into there, $15, spiked it long. SoFi does have sort of the characteristics of making moves lower. So if that winds up happening, there's been some dip buy opportunities there, and it's always respected this VWAP. And right now, that VWAP's at $18. We'll have a look at SoFi. I written down between 1770, just coming right back into here. I don't know if we'll break through right there. So if SoFi does make its way down, this first segment and opening bell is brought to you by VinFast. We want to thank them for sponsoring, ticker VFS. Please scan that QR code on your screen right now and go find out just a little bit more about VinFast. Okay, here we go. SoFi 18.20. We'll have to watch that one. Nvidia is on a run, that's for sure. Up to 212 right there. We like that, man. Past highs for Nvidia, obviously 240. Looking to take out that 215 right there. And there goes SpaceX as well. Intraday record high right now happening on the ES. First time since June. There's SpaceX touching out again at 118.50. Looks like it wants to go. Yesterday we were thinking what the catalysts are for the long. I don't know if it matters anymore. The long is in off of 110 right now, up about that 8 or 9% there from yesterday's lows. We'll have to wait to see what earnings brings tonight for SpaceX. Should be an exciting look there.
Speaking of earnings,
Nvidia making a move lower.
Lower, okay. Well,
Nvidia, yeah.
Yeah, Palantir just blew out 148, so it's making another run at the 200 SMA on the daily. Is right about 148.5. So this is blasting after earnings. 19% now on Palantir. You just mentioned Nvidia is dipping. Whoops, I almost typed in. It
seems irresponsible to go long up there on Nvidia, on Palantir being up that much.
VWAP on Nvidia is at just around 210. Forget about 209.5. It's going to be around 210 there. But Palantir just tagged 150. Huge. Remember, $150 is a big psychological level on Palantir. And if you go out, like we're at the 200 SMA on the daily. Do not want to be punching the top. What is Snapchat doing? Just want to quickly double check that name. That's trying. If this one gets to 6, that's the resistance on the daily, and it's starting to go. So Snapchat actually has a chance to be able to get up to that $6 level for resistance. It's like there's already a small cap or halt. Didn't take long.
Oh, yeah, AMIX, is that the one you come out? Yeah, HAUG, so. Another one as well. Okay, so yeah, just watching out, like we said there, tags a very psychological level there of 150 and coming back in. We thought that Palantir, I was saying this, it has the ability to move, but also has the ability to take these levels and, come right back in. So I still think the long maybe 145 now. We just touched out at 145. I do want to give it a little bit more time just to breathe a little bit and see if Palantir wants to be that stock that we think it should be today. And that's an aggressive one, which it already is. That's its biggest move I just heard, I think, since April or something on Palantir there. I think it might have even been the tariff April. But yeah, Google. Since April 2025, yeah, there it is. So yeah, that is right. There it goes there. Google is ripping as well right here early. Still going to be down, but what a good take on that one. As I remember some traders in the chat there, and especially on my socials on Twitter, were saying they liked Google long. And yeah, staying with that trend has been completely correct, man. Good job on anybody right there with Google. And of course, we had talked about Caterpillar, how we liked it. We got this in our account at 888s, and right now it's been working out. So Caterpillar right now up 12%, and again, pretty choppy there with the spread, right? Oh, there it is. It's now finally open. So there goes Caterpillar. I was going to say something didn't look right there with Caterpillar.
Yeah,
and with
New York stock.
yeah, New York didn't open yet. So now Caterpillar does have their $5. Look at the spread on Caterpillar, man. The spread on Caterpillar is $8.
Yeah, that's not a day trading stock.
Yeah, so it is just, go look at there.
Actually, that's a good point to remind people on New York stocks specifically, especially if they're in play on earnings. You might get a delayed opening print, and it can be very, very tricky to get in before an opening print. Actually, I think it was on Snapchat. There was one time on Snapchat where it had a bit of a gap. I do believe. And at the actually, I remember it was on open. And, if you shorted it, trying to get the pop on an earnings day a couple of years ago, it ended up like once the market opened up and NYC printed, it then halted up almost right after. Like you got destroyed if you tried to get into it. If you gambled the right direction, you were okay. But Snapchat is pressing into some of these highs. 575, 560, sorry, $6 could be in play. Palantir doesn't seem to want to re-challenge that 150 again, so we'll be a bit patient with them. Nvidia is now looking topping tail candle, so it's really going to have to hold on to VWAP. If you didn't get early into a breakout, then it's about being a little bit patient. All right, here comes Palantir. Size on the 149 on PLTR, and here comes the 150 for a break.
Oh, really?
I guess this is where we're at. Is this one just wants to take this $150 level? 19%. 19.
Yeah, it's a wild one. I'll try the 150 break, but I don't want to get I don't want to get that excited about it. So I'll try it. We'll try to hold it for like $1, maybe $1.50 against us, and just see if it is a stock that wants to work out to the high side. I'm just nervous because it's already up so much. Like up 20% is an absolute monster move there for Palantir. And if it takes 150, look at the size.
It's gone.
Okay, it's gone. So we're long at 150 flat. Right.
You got filled?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We're long there on Palantir. We're long 150 flat. Right there. So that moved up to the 70s there. So we'll take a little bit out in the 40s. We didn't have that high trade out right there. We'll see if we can get it now on Palantir. There it is. Go, 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 go. Yeah. So first trade so far, so good on that one. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. There was a huge amount of size that took out there on PLTR. And like I said, we were looking at a 160 as maybe the selling zone, but this is a monster move up now 20%. We're long on Palantir on that break. And I think that's the right way to trade it. You know, Neil mentioned there, okay, here we go. Well, now it's $1. So we'll go, yeah, $1 coming right now on that one. But I think that was pretty much the right way. There we go. We'll take the $1. It was a good test, and then a hold of VWAP down there, and then the re-break, right? And so those are the kind of trades that I'm looking for there on Palantir. So I did have that order in, locked in, loaded. We liked SpaceX to the long side, and you know, I was talking about that yesterday, man. There's going to be, like, if everybody knows that lockup is tomorrow, and we're all scared of everybody selling their shares, I mean, it's up 6% today. So this would be a great opportunity for those that are nervous hands. If you've traded off the lows and you're nervous about what earnings potentially could come from SpaceX, this is a great opportunity maybe to trim some. I don't know what the earnings are going to look like. I don't think they're going to look like anything. But SpaceX today.
Well, they're not going to be any earnings.
That's what I mean. I don't think they're going to look like anything. So we'll just wait. As I said yesterday, Neil was looking for some reasons. We gave some, and there's also negative reasons. So I just think this is going to be a real interesting report coming tonight on SpaceX. And but at the end of the day, it's congratulations to anybody right there. And I know, you know, Neil was going for it, missed it. That's what happens sometimes. I don't know how I got 150 flat there, but. We did. I just used that Frex, which is what I always do.
No, I think I used the NASDAQ scan for some reason.
Okay. Well, I don't know why you didn't get it, but at the end of the day, whatever.
Frex is a better punch key.
It's a breakout for now. So we'll keep on trading it, but there it is, man. Palantir long 150. We're in it now, almost $2. So.
Oh, good. No, Hood's not at 90. Yes, it is.
Is Hood? Is that a low price for Robinhood?
Oh,
no, good,
man.
right?
See, this is what OMEG. Is it OME Hacks? OME Hacks. In the chat just mentioned that breakout actually also happened on Robinhood. But you know what, Palantir, even if I missed it, that was the focus at the open. So you can only have so many level 2s open. But a big break on Robinhood, I'm going to imagine that if that is doing this, then SOFI is doing that. And also looking strong, Webull had news. So Webull had some news this morning, so that could be worth a watch. All right, it might end up just being, I thought we'd be going some longs first, but Snapchat decides it wants to get right to the top and try to pull in a VWAP or trace. So, yep, this will be the first one, unless Nvidia decides it wants to test the volume weighted average price, which it doesn't look like it wants to at all. So, yeah, going to be looking at that Robinhood. Palantir's in play because of earnings, so obviously it's going to be a bit of a higher look than Robinhood, which didn't even have a story. But 5 points. It was strong yesterday with SoFi, so the entire fintech space looking pretty good. So I'm going to try and jump into that. Not SoFi, Snapchat to the south side. I didn't love their quarter, and if it's going to turn off of the aftermarket highs, then I'm going to take a shot.
All right, yeah. ARM up 10%. I'm seeing someone in the chat there.
It was 4.
What was it? I only saw someone in the chat. Maybe I'll double check. Right there. Yeah, 264 and change. For me, I don't have, maybe I have a quarter left or something. No, not that much. Maybe 10% left of ARM or something like that. So it's not like a huge position for me anymore. But we've done well on ARM. So Palantir is pulling back in. So I'm going to take another out there at 50. But we've got a lot of our outs already. I'm still in 30% of this. So I'm going to take one more out here if we can rip up back into 151. But this is a pretty big trader here today with the volume, man. 24 million shares for Palantir. I was thinking like when moon, but the moon's already happened. So I don't know if we really want to hold on to this for too much longer. We already have a 151.75 out. I think we can, the fact that now we only have 30% left is interesting. So I'm going to get another piece here at 72 if we can do that and just lower the exposure a little bit. Like, I don't necessarily love this if it breaks too much below this 150. I'm going to go 149.75 and get out of the rest of this and just not live to see another day or whatever, because this is the only trade we have, and it's been a great one. But I don't want to hold it all the way back in. And next thing you know, like, I'm wondering if it's going to hold VWAP or not. We can exit out of the trade. And there it is. Now that it's floating back upside, we've already taken some out, so we can be a little bit more conservative now with our ins and our outs. But Palantir, yeah, definitely the winner chicken dinner so far there. We do want to look at Caterpillar again. A good name. I've been, happy to be in it where we're in it. I still think there is a move higher on Caterpillar, but the interesting thing is right into the 50-period moving average there today. So something to look at 920. If we can hold the 920 marker at open, by the time it's closed, then I think we'll have a good little look there. And the other name, Nvidia. SpaceX has gone for a jaunt upside, now back in a little bit. Oh, Walmart was the short. Maybe we should take advantage. That's okay. Not that I'm not saying that, just it's not there. I thought with the market ripping, we would have a Walmart opportunity short, but there's still downside there. And this is a good long too, if you like Walmart at 108, but we'll try to play the short there. And AMD.
I tried pulling up a monthly of Walmart, but I couldn't get it to work.
Oh yeah,
that's because it's coming into some interesting levels. Unfortunately, my e-signal just didn't like that chart in particular. So double tap the top here on Snap. Just want to get it not just VWAP, but in through the pre-market high would be the play. Nvidia is still exactly in the same spot, but it's Intel. See, this is the thing. AMD reports tonight, but Intel already gave you the goods. They want this 98 in a big, big way. Trying to figure out why Intel is so much better than Nvidia, which is not making new highs along with the market. I don't like to see lower highs on Nvidia. Somebody's selling this at 211.5, and every time it gets to and just above 211.5, they're starting to reject it to said downside. So it doesn't seem like it's nearly as strong as I would like it to be over here on NVDA. You already mentioned CAT looking very, very good off the bat. And AAOI, Coherent, and some of those other names, they're starting to give it up a little bit. So they're underneath the volume weighted average price, not really showing the strength that they had gapped up. Remember, these are pretty thinly traded. Like Coherent's not even much of a day trading stock at all. Yeah, Nvidia is a bit of a disappointment so far. It's above VWAP, which I suppose is good. But I don't like that opening. I don't like that opening candle at all on Nvidia.
No, I'm just fixing my earpiece over here. I've been just looking at Palantir and trying to massage this position a little bit. We have 25% left. I just held it for a good trade there at a 151.70. So now we're right here right now. I thought it was pulling back in a little bit. I have one more offer at 152, and then I have a 152.75, and we'll see if that wants to go. Is Google continuing its move higher here today? No, a little bit of a pull. Well, yes, but a little bit of a pull back right here on the day trade so far with 373 up to 371. So watch out there for Google and see what that's doing. Just a quick check on the notes again. We didn't look at SoFi. That would be another trade. And I think I'm liking the more calmed out approach that I have now trading. Just very, very laid back, easy, putting on one or two trades, explaining them all to you, showing the outs, showing the ins. and hopefully ringing some registers for everybody and myself, obviously, out there as well. And trade your own book. I mean, we just talked about Snapchat earnings, Palantir earnings. A lot of these plays, sometimes we stay away from them on earnings days, and sometimes the trade is there, right? So you got to be able to parse out what you're looking for. There goes Palantir, hopefully good right there. We just got 152s, so that was a good one. And there it goes now. Now we're $2 in the money on our Apple was the other one at 300. That was another one that I want to think about. Nah, I mean, so like this is how we lose early when it's very, very choppy like this, unless you're able to pick up some bottom there. Yesterday we had a great run in Apple, but then that run sort of came to an end there. As Apple kept on going lower into another up market. And there we go, man. The NASDAQ, someone asked me yesterday, will we get to the Qs 725 by 3 weeks? Well, I mean, now you're almost there. You're another couple percentage points away from a NASDAQ blowout here. So there goes the Qs to the upside. Was it Steve-O Tillman that mentioned Dell last time?
Oh.
Yeah, it would be Steve Tillman probably. My Dell call bought that day. 420 strike up 69%. Yeah, there it is, man. So what's up, Dave? Yeah, and I think that, to all due respect to all the short callers and everything out there, it's been such a monster move. I really feel like over the last, since we had Steve on, which would have been Friday, because I wasn't here Friday. So it's been a great run in those names. And so congratulations to be able to pick that up.
Well, not all of them.
I don't know what SMCI, it's probably up since Thursday.
Oh, yeah, if you're not up since Thursday, then, well, you got to...
Then your Apple or...
Serious channel check if you're not up since Thursday, but SMCI is not even that great. No, Dell's just so much better. This name is looking weak, SMCI.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is, wow, okay, false break.
Dell had that huge move down, which is why I think it's a little bit better right now.
Like this actually looks like a short on SMCI more than anything else.
SpaceX coming back.
Yeah, come back to that one in a quick little second. No, that actually does look like a little bit of a short. All right, somebody's finally buying this above the 211.5. Maybe Nvidia wants to confirm this breakout over the top because it's been way too choppy. But it's got a bit of a trend from the open that can get worked into the volume weighted average price. Now it looks better with 210.50 as kind of a high. So I'm going to pop on the bid. Still really just in Snapchat, and that's the only one. But I do like that SMCI to the south side. Tesla was on the radar. It doesn't end up, it's not going to get to, it might get to 320. So it dipped into VWAP in the afternoon and tagged 320 and bounced. And it's on a jaunt down to that 320 now with the market looking a little bit strong. So I think this one can be a play. Just give it a little more time. The market's blasting. It's relatively weak. I don't think you want to rush into a long on that bad boy. Just looking like a bit of a disappointment. And it was only deliveries, remember. And the other thing about Tesla, SpaceX reports tonight. I know they're not the same thing, but one of the big things on the call is going to be there's going to be questions about a combination. Whether or not they commented or not, there are going to be serious questions about that. I think that'll be...
Yeah, and as much as I talked about the weird, jokey questions people submitted, there were there weren't very many, but there were at least one or two that I noticed about SpaceX and Tesla together. Not all, though, about a potential merger, some with TerraFab, but either way here, the relationship between these companies is kind of sort of on investors' mind, in addition to the new mascot and pink spaceships.
Makes sense.
Terra fabulous.
Like, how could you not be thinking about it? Terra.
Yeah, we'll see what winds up happening tonight. SpaceX coming through to the downside right now. So as we had just said, take your opportunities that if you wanted to, we just talked about it. It's like if you wanted to sell some SpaceX and you thought that the move was too high heading into earnings, I was just mentioning that basically 5-10 minutes ago as we were up here at 121, and maybe people took that to heart. I doubt it, but that's a big move back in on SpaceX. Definitely something to look out for now as we approach 117 on the 200 period moving average. I think that's worth a little bit of a shot there. I'm not sure what the selling's all about, and we did have a little bit of a buy imbalance, that's for sure. That really kicked it off there. We've seen the machines turn on SpaceX before, but they didn't turn off this quickly. So now we kind of got to wait. I don't think there's anything wrong with testing down there, so I think we'll put something at 117. Let's go 117.25. We'll just put a little bit, and if it breaks through 116.50 or so, then we'll get out of that one. So let's go a little bit lower, down into 117 again, and then we'll try to give this name about 50 cents, as we had just mentioned. So we'll try to take our first fill at, I'm going to cancel I wrote down 113s. So coming back into here, this is a 2-minute chart, but coming back into some of these levels right into there for SpaceX is really what I was thinking. But we'll try it now. We just got filled. So new trade.
Watch out for SoFi.
Yeah, okay, we'll watch SoFi. I may or may not have bids down there.
Robinhood's tanking. That's
okay. So SpaceX, we're long. We'll both look at SoFi. I see you're on. We've got Robinhood on there. So, all right, here comes SpaceX down into 117. We just took the long. No real expectations. Are out is 116.50. But I guess I got to put that in before it happens. I already have it in. Okay, that's good. So 116.50 will be stopped out of this one. It looks like a little quicker than we had hoped. And then we can wait for our actual level that we wrote down. But it's 9:48 right now. So I'm comfortable sitting into a trade and just seeing what's going on, but catching a falling knife is not part of the new trade plan. So we'll have to watch out for SpaceX here.
Being the falling knives, I mean, I like Robinhood, but it's a falling knife into the prior high right now. Look at that candle just now on Hood. So blasting through 95, breakout at 94. Now it's only up 2%. I don't know if SoFi is making the same pullback in the downside, but just going to quickly check in on IBIT. Ooh, don't flash that to me. Look at all that resistance on IBIT. So we are looking at some weakness over in crypto. I did reload Snap. Snap just keeps on holding the high and not doing anything with it. So it effectively is the same top, $5.69, over and over again, that just keeps on flashing. It just hasn't done that jaunt back into VWAP. It's not really doing a heck of a lot. So Robinhood, IBIT, both coming in, but Robinhood much, much weaker here than what's going on in crypto.
Oh.
Like way weaker.
Is crypto? Yeah, crypto's not really doing too much.
No,
there,
but it's the patented, if I see this false breakout at resistance, if it's not going to be a breakout to fill the gap, then a scalp short first, because the market's blasting higher. So at this point, if I see relative weakness, I'm going to hop into the short. But this one, I wanted to be long a breakout on this today. If it's not breaking out with the market, then the first look's going to be a short to the high. Market's going, the ES just broke another fresh high. The NASDAQ's literally blasting right now.
Yeah, so it looks like we are trying to reverse this SpaceX because we did get stopped out. And now we're short here at 117. And it looks like now it wants to make the move higher. So, we may have to just leave this one alone. I thought if we had broken back down below some of these levels, it just turns out that we held the exact pre-market low of 116 right there. So what am I giving this up to? I don't want to be silly with it. Like, I don't want to just get in and out so fast and then, rethink about this. Like, if I get out of this, it might be the last time. And I think it was maybe 118. Like, I kind of want to give this up to 118.50, but I am realizing that it's going to be a little bit of a tricky trade. We're flat on this right now. So in order to hold a little bit longer, let me just take out something here at 116.50 if we're able to, and then again at 30s, and then we'll see if we are able to get something a little bit lower off of SpaceX. And then that way, if we could take a little bit of profit, because we've already got hit on this, if we could take a little bit, there it is, okay. Well, that was nuts. We just got some out there at 116.50s, and then it just spiked up to 117.20s. So it just ripped 70 cents there. As there's someone in here, I guess, buying this right now and didn't want it to go down.
Short covering.
Yeah, it could be short. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, yeah, buying it for, I don't know what the reason would be, but they're definitely in there. Right, like it was going down there. I don't know. I was like happy. I was like, okay, here we go. It was a good thing we sat there and took that fill, because now SpaceX is right back against us again. So, all right, a little bit of an out there. Looks like that 116.50 got bought up super quick. So that was my stop zone. So maybe we do have something there with 116.50, but yeah, for now 117.50 is the top. Maybe 118.50 is where we cancel this trade. But for right now, SpaceX, yeah, interesting movement there for sure. And by the way, Palantir just is like on one today.
Palantir, hold my beer.
Yeah, Palantir is hold my beer is a good one there. We're $2 in the money now.
I can't think of anything better.
No, that's okay. You did okay. Now 15% upside now for Palantir. So
kind of a groan.
Sorry, 15% upside. 50% left of this Palantir trade.
21% upside on Palantir. The expected move was actually 11. Was actually 11.5, not 12. I just kind of.
Oh, okay.
The thing about the expected move is it's always changing because it's just based on options. So when I put the poll up yesterday, it wasn't actually right, but it doesn't really matter. Dead shot kit
Ooh,
Deadshot. That's like a superhero. Have Intel call.
Deadpool?
No, but there's Deadshot.
Oh, there's Deadshot.
So like, what used to happen is Marvel and DC would copy each other. So like, there'd be it's I don't know. I guess it's like a rivalry thing. So the character looks the same as the other one.
Deadshot's sick. That's all I was gonna say.
Deadshot's pretty legit. You have an Intel call, strike 115 expiration. Now I can't read it. Sorry, I couldn't read it before.
Strike 115.
August 21st.
August 21st.
So Intel, that's a couple of weeks.
We have enough time for
You have a couple of weeks. 115 is not, you know what? I was going to say, like, that's a bit far away. But it's up $18 from the lows post-earnings. So it's not, like, 2 weeks. The way the stock is moving, yeah, it's entirely possible. That's resistance is at 15, and then the 50 period's at 10. I think the 50 period's the bigger story there. And again, we're not here to tell anybody what you got the winner on. You've got your trade. Technically, the 50's been the resistance spot. Sometimes people can take a little bit of profit off. I don't know how you're rolling. If you don't have that opportunity because you don't have multiple, then it can be a tough road to hoe. But no one ever went broke taking some profit. I do think AMD earnings tonight probably give you a good look at that, right? Because there's some related names. So I would at least consider, get a read on it from AMD earnings and how they react to that. So IBIT, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. The Nasdaq's continuously making highs, and there's the break, and IBIT is doing this patented weak relative to the market story, at least for now. Nvidia's under VWAP. So if it's under VWAP, then we're waiting for it to test the afternoon highs, which was about 208 and a half. So nothing yet on Nvidia as we try to be patient. And the chain reactor, ooh, that's harsh. RKLB is a garbage stock still. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't been good in a while.
Right.
And I think that's what the entire space has been pretty trash for a while now. So I don't know what to tell you. It's made a nice little bounce from the lows, but everything else about it doesn't look that good. Needs to get through $80. It's an interesting company.
Yeah, no, it's a good look. I mean, the guy's right. It's been a tough go. And
blame SpaceX.
A lot of it is where you're in on the stock, of course, right? And so Rocket Lab's had a huge move up. It's like someone could say Marvell's, garbage because of where it's sitting, but if you're not part of the run, Rocket Labs went hard. It's just it's a hard look right now, I would say, for them. Okay, look, I'm super excited. I mean, it's been an awesome fucking go right now. Let's go, SpaceX. So there it is, man. We are now positive. Where's my guy Easy Peasy? Because we did exactly what we like doing these days, and that is reversing off of trades that potentially do not look so bueno there. And when we get knocked out at key levels, I'm like, okay, well, it's a key level for a reason. Maybe this is the spot where we turn around, and there it goes now. So now we are now clubbing with a big win now on SpaceX, man. I mean, this is going to be a good one. We had multiple fills up there. That was a good one, and now it's all the way back down. My bid is at 115.65. I don't even really know why we're there. It just went to 75. I think we should be definitely at 75. I mean, I should be at a level that I'm going to cancel my 65. I just put an 85 there. We should be at key levels, 75 like optionable levels, right? Like 75s, O's, 50s, things like that. Like that's where I should be. So I should have had another out down there. That is my bad. I'm actually going to, instead of just celebrating, I'm going to actually try to take a bid. So I just bid again at 18s. We'll see if we can get in. We just did, of course. So that's a good one there. So we're just, look, if you're rocking, Neil's on Snapchat, IBIT as well. I don't know if you had something else earlier.
No, just the only two.
Just the only two. So that's what I was going to say. Like, we only have these trades today.
Nvidia's weak, man.
Nvidia, I wrote down 207, so I'm going to have a look to see where that is. But right now it's Palantir. That was the only trade for me early, and it was just, again, where's Ramin at? And congratulations to Ramin. But we did that last video there on opening range breaks. And this is the only thing that this one didn't have. And we do the videos because, they're good educational tools. Not every single time you're going to have every single metric line up. Like, I don't have the relative volume spike there in Palantir, but the good thing about Palantir, and I remember talking about this when we did the video, is the RVOL was already in the pre-market.
You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, this is already had eyeballs on it, right? That the only reason why you really want to look at volume is for eyeballs. You want to have other traders in the same party with you, right? I mean, it's just part of the atmosphere. It's part of the momentum that gets stocks going. And
because part of it your exit liquidity on a good opening trade is other people joining it. If there's no extra RVOL, then you're not having people join your 9:30 breakout, 9:35 breakout at 9:45 at 10 o'clock. Right? You want people on multiple time frames to get into the trade after you. It's when you don't have that you start to run into some trouble.
Like we're sitting in right now. Yeah, exactly. Good way of putting it. We're sitting in right now. Like this is $4 worth of trades right now. It's a $3.50 winner now. Now it's higher than that, but now it's $3.50 on Palantir and it's $1 on SpaceX. And we just got that fill, by the way, at 80s there on SPCX. So it's really been a good move, just doing what we're doing. And we want to look at other names. This is not a matter of looking at the same names every day, because yesterday I didn't trade SpaceX, nor did I trade Palantir. It's about trading the opportunities, right? And I mean, right now, this FCUV, okay, what am I supposed to talk about here? I mean, this was a name that,
nothing to do.
Nothing. So if there was something going on there, we'd love to cover that. Here's another one that's halted, ADGM. So this is an interesting name. This has done 113 million shares. So I could definitely see some interest in ADGM. But again, it's not like my style. I haven't really seen a boatload of money, honestly, made on a lot of these small cap names the way I trade. So, you have to be aware of, halts and what the proper share sizing is and what your game is, right? And then trade your game. That's for sure. I wanted to look at Caterpillar. We're going to go to Adair for numbers, and then we'll come back and talk to Neil. Look what's happening to Caterpillar right now. Bloodbath in Caterpillar. So it's given back half.
Profit taking, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's given back. Yeah, I know, but there's no profit taking in Palantir. Like, I thought Caterpillar was a great quarter, and like I had said to you guys, let's go back over. We have Jolts coming up, so let's go back over to Dara, and then Neil and I will talk more about Caterpillar. But that's a surprise to me.
Joel's job openings here coming through, guys, for the month of June. Forecast 7.4535 million. Prior print here, 7.594 million. That's coming in here at 7.359 million. So again, guys, that is going to be below the estimate of 7.4535 million and the prior print of 7.594 million. That is, again, lower than expected Joel's job opening print. Also, lower than expected factory orders print, negative 0.3% versus positive 0.2% expected, and the prior print of negative 1.3%. As we digest these lower than expected Joel's job openings here, let's take a look at the SPY. Consolidating here near highs of the session. NASDAQ, a little bit actually making a slightly lower high here for the session. DIA, also on watch here, the Dow. The Dow's already given up a decent portion of its move, though still obviously up on the session compared to where we closed yesterday. Though, speaking of up on the session, Palantir. This is a blowout quarter. This was a massive beat here. They raised guidance for the fiscal year. They beat guidance for Q3. All of their revenue segments to the upside to the tune of at least, I think, 80% each. So massive growth here for Palantir. But we have more earnings on watch after the bell today. And one of them is certainly going to be on watch here. SpaceX is the first ever report of SPCX following their June 12th, 2026 IPO. We've already had shareholders submit questions, but I think what the analysts are looking for is going to be a little bit different from what these shareholders are seeking. We also have, of course, Jensen Huang's real-life cousin, Lisa Su, AMD earnings in focus after the bell, too. You're also going to get AMGN, Astera Labs, Arista Networks, TOST, Open Door, Upstart. The list goes on and on. Join us right here live on the show for more earnings updates, and check us out on XFTTV Research for all the earnings preview content you need as we send you over to Sean and Neil for more trading action.
Thank you, Adair, and also for an offer that you're probably not getting from your broker, everybody. Markets are active, they're wild, and if you like this environment, it's probably because it creates big opportunities and bigger moves, so you got more setups out there for you, more momentum that you can play into all day long. But you know what? If you're going to take advantage of that, you probably want to have discipline, but you also need access to capital. That's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your account, traders get to access the firm's capital. Then you can focus on executing your strategy and just managing risk. Don't have that fear of blowing up your account or moving that stop because you're worried about your own savings. So it's limited risk trading, everybody. That's what it's called, and they're bringing it to you. So if you want to take advantage of the volatility in these markets and you don't want to risk your own capital, I want you to visit tradethepool.com, scan the QR code you see out in front of you right now. And the chat's so much fun that
it is.
It's just boom, it just blew, mine just died.
Oh,
me
okay.
there.
So yeah.
No, I'm like, yeah, maybe there was so much
way.
activity in the chat that it just did that. But quickly, the market's continuously going higher, but like Bitcoin's trying to bid in here. I also just picked up SMCI. So Bitcoin goes VWAP to the afternoon support level. Next gap is down to here at 35.8. I'm essentially giving it the wick off VWAP. So it's about 4 cents worth of risk. So it's worth a reload if it does come back into the volume weighted average price. And SMICI, SMCI, that did a topping tail candle that I missed on the way back down. I'm like, yeah, just let me leave the order at 50, keep the stop at 29.6, and then just play the VWAP consolidation down on this name. As I just noticed, it's like, well, Nvidia was trending down, Caterpillar was going in the other direction. So I wanted things breaking out above VWAP if they could, but that just wasn't the case with these chip names. Look at Nvidia, it's still trending down. Snapchat, and it's like the longest bull flag of all time, where it's just holding the high, holding the high, holding the high, doesn't want to break. So I'm not adding to this because there's other names that are trending down a heck of a lot better than that. So SMCI, I said SMICI, but I feel like that's something Indira said. SMCI, if I call it SMICI, it's just a cute little pet name. We're going to go short to the prior day high, which is down around that 29 level. So the market's blasting, and not everything seems to want to participate. But it is blasting enough that, wow. Like I saw ARM of 11%. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What are we talking about here? Like Palantir I get, because Palantir reported earnings. Caterpillar I understand. ARM, this just seems on sympathy to what?
Like everything else.
To everything? Like that's just how it is. And Marvell I know is up 11 or 12% as well. So same thing. They're both up 11 points here. Rising tide's lifting most ships. I think the disappointment would be NVDA right now.
Yeah, it's definitely, for me, it would be a good day to check the old account out there with some of those names running. Thank you, Salvador. Really appreciate it. You're in the Palantir trade as well. Shout out to Scott H, man. Talking about the killer trade on Palantir today. Yeah, I only have now 5% left of that trade. We'll talk about it as we progress. So thank you, guys. And again, get in the chat, right? It's not only here on YouTube. We do have a consolidated chat as well. And we could put that up. It's actually behind us right now on the screen, so we can always check out what's going on. So, shout out to everybody that's here. Your YouTube will be there, the TikTok, everything happening for us all at once. So thank you to Fabian for building that up as well. All right, so we're going to be getting out of SpaceX here. We did get a reload. We did get a little bit out there. We always sit here and talk about like, we want to trade things on earnings day, or we don't want to trade things on earnings days. And, it is dangerous to trade it. So if this breaks above 118, I'm only giving this to 118.20s, and then we're out. So, that's where VWAP is. It's been a good short. Well, the long was not good. We got into the long and we're out of that in 30 seconds. The short played, then we re-shorted this. So now this is the problem. So we will still stay red on SpaceX because there's this, if it takes us out, we'll be red. But yeah, for right now, red trade, dead red on SpaceX. It didn't really give us the movements that we were looking for there today. So, we will have to slap to fail if it does rip up through that 1820 marker, which is where VWAP is. And I just don't really want to deal with it. If we're taking a lot of shares on something, we got to put on it at certain spots. So we did take, a decent amount there. We have less than a unit, but right into there at 117.50. So that's where we are. And then I did that on purpose, knowing that this is where my out would be. So comfortable taking, what would be a 70 or 80 cent hit there on slippage. So definitely make sure that you're into something like that. Yeah. So SOFI.
Well, came pretty good. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just wanted to give a quick update.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
I'm looking to reload, not Snapchat. What is the difference between this? Goes to the highs, continues to make, I do one reload after we get a scalp out, but then it continues to make higher lows. So no second reloads, just get out when it breaks that top. Very different from what's going on in the other names that are relatively weak. Like IBIT goes into VWAP, pulls in a lower high, so that's what I want to reload. Although I actually didn't get filled on the way back through, so we want it, but we're not getting it. SMCI, that hasn't really given any reloads off 29.5. Wow. So with the market absolutely blasting, like this is the NASDAQ, if it'll ever load up, 2% and just going higher. SPY, again, also ramping. And for the first time, Nvidia is starting to look a little bit good. It just never pulled into the dip level. Wanted a little closer to 208, but that doesn't matter if this is where you want to go from. then here over VWAP can be a play for NVDA. Just wanted to give a quick update there. Is if this joins the party, maybe we get 3% on the market if Nvidia is going to start to go and get back to the high.
And that 3% would put it basically to all-time highs again. So I'm close enough, right? We were about 4% away today.
Yeah,
now you're about 2% away from the NASDAQ. And again, there's that Q's call. Whoever bought those, I mean, if there were 725 options you bought, you are cooking right now with gas. Those must be huge in the money right there, right now. All right, just an update on SpaceX. It did fall back into 50s again, so we took some pressure off of it because this is not looking like it wants to do anything but go upside right now, SpaceX, ahead of earnings. I think it's going to be nervous hands. Traders that potentially are short may not want to be short into that report, but it's only 10:10 and there's a lot of day left. So, that theory may not hold water right now. It's very, very early. Like I think if we're talking about that at 3 o'clock or, into the closing hours of the stock before earnings, then potentially I could see, an aggressive move one way or the other for positioning. But right now, I feel like it just wants to get bought up. Like we just went back in to 117.50 again, where we could have got out for flat and we didn't. So yeah, like here it comes, like look at that, like see, now it's going to come right back in. Will it get bought again at 117.50 down here? Just because it's a little early on in the day. Now, you know what? We don't have to take, I was going to say we could take some off, but we've had a good day with Palantir here and we haven't had a bad day with SpaceX. So let's maybe see if we can hold this for a little bit of a winner. My next bid is at 117.10. I don't know. That might be, what are we at? 40s? Yeah, okay. Let's just see if it goes down. I'm trying to get out. Like, I'm a little nervous. No, let's go to 117.20 now. I'd be happy to get it. Like, I know I'm stumbling here as I'm talking because I'm a little nervous about what I'm trying to do. But we'll put that at 117.30 right there. I'm trying to follow these lines. Like, I didn't really want to be short too much underneath, over top, of this 50 period and this 200 period. So right now, just letting it work out a bit. All right, man, there goes Palantir. Palantir is now not a 1, not even a 2, not even a 3. It's not even a 4. It's a $5 winner right now on Palantir as we just extend out. And, yesterday there was some, snickers in the chat, I feel like, when I was looking back at it, when we talked about this 160 level. And I mean, there it is, right? It's like we're coming up to that. So I'll probably sell a little bit of my Palantir today, honestly, like regardless of if it gets to 160 or not. 23% is quite huge. And I am looking for that extension play right on Palantir, meaning that like this is only day 1. So let's see if we can get a day 2 or day 3 play back in for Palantir and maybe capture, 30% or so, like another 6 or 7% from here could happen. I just don't know if it's going to happen today. And you saw Microsoft, and maybe Microsoft.
It was just a question from Jason in the chat about Microsoft.
Okay, it didn't pull back at all. It was pulling back early.
Well, the entirety of the Mag 7, Sans, Tesla, and Nvidia were all kind of gapped down. Like Amazon was down, Apple was slightly down, Microsoft was down, Meta was all down in the pre-market, but now they're just like, who cares? Software rally is back in full fold. Like Microsoft is screaming on a relief rally. And remember, some of that could just be the IGV as well, which I'm going to guess is having a fantastic day. But you know what? The market is way too strong here. There's a decent part of me that says, why am I looking at the low here if there's buyers putting in a higher low on SMCI? Like, it's working and we're continuously making that lower high, but somebody's buying it at 29.2 instead of the low at 29.1. So I think that's where it's prudent to take it out. Still think we can get IBIT, sort of a similar story. This has a better chance. I'm not seeing any buyers until it got to 36. So I'm going to let it retrace down to the even and then press down for that. Here, I'll go to the higher time frame and then press down for that prior high here. You can see it clean on the 15-minute. Yesterday, that's where the only indecision bar was, and then you had some resistance there. So that's a bit of a gap fill play for that bad boy. Nvidia is still under VWAP. That's disappointing.
Really?
Tesla is now trying to get back above, so this could be a nice secondary breakout for Tesla. I want buyers above. It immediately failed to break out of the high. Like, there's nothing that's going to get you in unless if you had a 27 break, you didn't get it. If you had a 26 break, you got rinsed. But now it's starting to hold VWAP. If it can retake 26, then we can get going here on Tesla, and then it does what Nvidia was supposed to do.
I'm staring over here at SpaceX, it's like not breaking 50s. So we're just getting more out here. Like I don't know why it's just hanging out. Like right now for the last 10 minutes or more, it's been 118 to 1750. So it's just hovering around. I think traders are trying to make up their minds here. So I'm not part of that. Like, so if we can just keep getting out, we'll do that. We put our bid now at 117.30. We talked about that. So another out would be great down there as we get lighter and lighter on this trade. Still in 70% of it. No, a little bit. Yeah, about 70%, maybe a little bit under. But there, see, like it just ran and came right back. So I think like the longs are getting excited and the shorts are. And at the end of the day, I feel like this wants to go higher. It's going to keep on testing this view up. That's where our out is. I don't want to second guess that out. So if we do get knocked there, then we get knocked, and that's that. So we'll wait for SpaceX. We don't have to talk about Palantir. That's $5 in. All right, PLIB, nope. This Theo stock, nope. PLIB, ADGM, maybe open back up again, hovering around $80 for another halt name there, ADGM. And there's Palantir. I saw someone in the chat say they wanted that $5, and there it is, man. You just got it. It just broke above 155 there, went to 155.08, and we take that fill at 155. So boom shakalaka, there it goes, man. Big one there, $5 on PLTR. Let's see if it wants to continue that move higher. And you made a good point about Robinhood, like because that move came right in and it's kind of still hovering there. So I don't know, it's still hovering near these lows on Robinhood, which was such a great day for them. It just pulled back. I think still up 1% is still a great day for Robinhood.
I think the problem lies in, if you zoom out, go to the daily chart on Robinhood.
Yeah.
It tags to the penny basically the 200 SMI. The 200 SMA. I'm in SMCI, that's why. And then look at that 94. This is a false break on the 15. It sucks, but this is actually looking like a short setup here on Robinhood because the breakout was supposed to be hold above 94. Literal opposite of that on Robinhood. I can't call this a long. Bitcoin's holding under VWAP, so that's been reloaded underneath the volume weighted average price, and this is losing the prior low. Robinhood looks like a short to me. With the market blasting higher. So 92 looks like the short, unless it's a flat bottom break here through, it's already broken 91, so can't even call it that. No, this sucker is not a long today. Tesla's giving you a chance, but still no breakout above 326 on that. And if you're looking at USO, it's doing everything it can to hold this rally up. Because as Rubio and Oman making progress in talks, USO just made another fresh low of the day. Oil futures down at, not oil futures, but USO down at 116 and looking to break the bottoms. Again, if you're not at the highs or at least above VWAP right now, then you have a serious problem. And I think Robinhood's in that category.
Like what a run for the market, man. Just to have bought those indexes, had such a good look there on the NASDAQ.
You never buy it all as long as you buy something.
Yeah. No, it's all good. I mean, it's just a matter of like, wow, what a good run this market has had recently. I mean, the NASDAQ now up another 2%. Like, just keeps on going and going and going here, this NASDAQ. Like, good bottom take there, like 660, 670, like all the way up to 720 again right now and trying to get going through. So, yeah, big time levels for the NASDAQ. It's still a little ways to go, so we'll see if it can climb back up there. All-time highs 750 or so on the Qs as we look at 715. So still a little bit of time before we get to those highs. We could check in on the Dow Jones and see what that's been doing today. And I did want to have a quick little look at more of a sector watch. I know we do have a segment for this coming up, but right into here, and right into here. What we're going to look at now is all of this. So Apple, AMD, Google, like definitely a big NASDAQ day today, right? When they're all starting to go up, and even Apple joined the party today. We talked about them missing out yesterday and saying, where am I at? Where's my invite? Well, it came in the mail last night. All right, watch this. This down here is Marvell, so that's 11%. Wow. Okay, actually, we talked about Marvell being up. Didn't realize it was 12%, but that's good. Morgan Stanley, 2, Goldman. So the banks are back, right? There's JPMorgan. This might be all-time highs again, 360 for JPMorgan. Do we have an all-time high look on here so I don't have to keep looking back? I don't know where it is on this. But anyways, okay, 320,000 employees. Wow. JPMorgan upside there. That's a big one in the financials. So we're happy to see JPM do its damn thing SpaceX just gave me that 50 fill, so we're getting out of a little bit of it. We'll see if it wants to fall back in. And here's the poor trading today. Not poor trading, but the names that are under. We have retail underneath today. Amazon downside. I think we want to buy weakness in Amazon if it does hit the downside. We had Walmart written down at 111 as a bid, and that just didn't, as an offer, that didn't hit there. Carvana up 4%. They reported last week, right? Target happening as well. What's up, Randy? Hope you're doing well over there, my guy. Yeah, everything is up. You're right about that one. Here comes SpaceX falling back down. So now we're 40 cents in on this. I don't know if this is going into the gates of hell. Wow, this coffee could not be better timed. I got to tell Rob, he puts a little bit too much milk in it. So I got to tell Rob that. No, the first time. Yeah, you were busy running around. Thank you for...
There's a bit of a difference between a dollop and a glub.
A dollop, yeah. A dollop of sour cream, my young friend. Randy, you are a coffee guy, and what do you take in your coffee? 1 cream? 2 cream, okay, good. Same as the wife. And my wife says hi to you, by the way, because we were talking about your daughter. I'm not going to say where, but she was up there enjoying her summer, and we had passed it a couple times, so we're really excited for her. And I always think that when you're young to do, those summer jobs are, it's like you get to make the money, you get to hang out with friends. It's great experience. And, definitely something to spend your time in the summer because we don't get it for long enough.
If you can do at least one summer job that is fun,
yeah,
not just, you can compensate it with other work. That's all I got to say. Because I worked one summer at Wonderland, but I made up for it by working nights, loading trucks, and just making as much as I could per hour. Yeah. I was like, bump that because they pay you extra in the night shift and you pick up an extra half shift in the morning. But then I also worked a couple of months at a theme park, which was so much fun.
And a Weston Bakery as well.
You get to go for free.
I didn't
know you worked at
in the factory and everything like that.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Very, very long. I worked there a couple times. But by the way, all of that training that I did, in the bakery and all that kind of stuff, definitely paying off. Not really. With Palantir right there. This is now $6.50. And it wasn't even a hard trade. It was one that made sense. It was a 150 break on an earnings call that was huge. And now I'm glad that I'm still on air with everybody because it stopped me from getting out of Palantir right now. And maybe it does come up into that 160 level all of a sudden. Thank you to some good friends of mine there on the chat that right now believe in this trading and just believe in yourself. That's the most important thing. Right there. Not only are we not even writing down Palantir today on our note, we have Nvidia long at 207. That hasn't hit. We had SpaceX long written down. We're up now on SpaceX, basically going short. SoFi long 1775. That hasn't hit yet. And then the Walmart short at 111. So you have the ideas, but at the end of the day, you got to judge what the market gives you.
Because it might never get to your price.
That's exactly right. We saw Palantir going. It actually set up the way we liked it. We talked about this happening. We literally last Thursday, before I left, we did a video on this exact trade. So there it is happening real time. The breakout long, right? Off of the pre-market levels. There it goes. And we use 150 as a trigger in, but it also does actually match. And the reason why it was such a good trigger is we had already gone up to 150 and pulled back, supported by VWAP, and bang. So yesterday we had a similar thing like that in Palantir. Remember, it was and we lost on it in the afternoon because it was just doing this. This time the momentum is there in PLTR. So 650 in Palantir and 79 cents now in SpaceX. So we'll get back. We'll talk about some of the trades that we have on and what we're looking at moving forward. But for right now, it's Adara at the big desk.
Lots of small tasks to talk about here, We'll kick it off here with Adagio Medical. This is a day 2 catalyst. So this came out yesterday morning, treating the first patient with the V-Class ultra low temperature ablation system under new expanded access authorization from the FDA. ADGM has an $18 million market cap, 21.8 million share float. TNMG, TNL Mediagene, they're in focus here after their Infobond unit partnered with Miro to expand AI-powered services within its digital studio business in Japan. Good look here for TNMG, day 1 catalyst, $1.88 million market cap, 2.18 million share float, and short float of 7.4%. Last but not least, the repeat offender. As Neil mentioned earlier, this name did rally last week. It's rallied in the past as well. NUWE New Welles. Today's catalyst here, they're announcing their next-gen Aquadex platform strategy to expand future critical care applications. And NUWE has a $730,000 market cap. So that is a sub-$1 million market cap. That is a 360,000 share float and a 32% short float. Very notable characteristics here for NUWE. Back to you.
Thanks, Adair. And the buyer that was sitting on SMCI at 29.2, it just spiked it again. So someone just kind of, every time it gets down, that next 10 pennies is like flashing it back up into the 30s. So I'm going to be out and then waiting for a reload. It's a very, very long bear flag. It's the entirety of the morning that it's held this range. So it does set up for continuing to hold VWAP or maybe even a breakdown underneath 29. Robinhood just hit 90, so I'm glad we didn't try the long in Robinhood. And that's sort of the thing. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what you want to happen at a particular price. Like the breakout was good, but after that, it's just been falling all over itself and just dying. So you got to be able to stay away from it. IBIT, we missed the reload at VWAP the first time, the second time. We'll try to get it a third if it does. But we've already scalped to the low, and then the breakdown is patience and allow it to get back to that 35.8. So that one's still looking okay. Nvidia has been a disappointment for me. Hasn't really filled in the gap. Ideally, when you're looking for the bull run, you want to get that bottoming. This is not a real fill at 207. That bottoming tail candle's not real. So you wanted to try to get that at the open and then rally. Now it's just in a downtrend going into that support, which is a very different thing than trying to pick it up off of the open. So it's going to require a little bit more patience on this. The NASDAQ is strong, but showing some signs of slowing down. ES kind of putting in a potential red candle as well. So if I don't get Robinhood short or IBIT or SMCI reloads, it's waiting for Nvidia to start showing signs of life. No trend break, no support level yet on Nvidia. It's not giving you any signs. So, I don't want to be rushing into it. It's now 10:25. I'm not going to force it just because I want it to go up.
Yeah, no, nothing to do. I mean, I think we've been sitting here being patient with SpaceX really worked. I mean, we were almost. I just want to show you guys, like, that's VWAP. There's a reason why we always talk about it and why we're using it. I just coulda, woulda, shoulda, hindsight, right? I didn't want to add to this position because I was sitting here telling you guys I thought it was going to break. And, when it didn't, we were able just to basically de-risk on this name, right? So we got a lot out here basically for flats. I mean, we're short at 117.50. These are all 117.50s. And then that's a 117. It looks like they're flats, but that's a 117.20. Here, maybe if I zoom in a little bit, you can see that's 117.20. These are 116.80s, downside 116.70s, one underneath 117 again, and then a 117 out as it breaks. So, getting lighter, I only have a quarter left, and I want to try to hold now to see what this winds up doing, and we're still going to use VWAP as a break. So, 118.20, my break stays there, but now we only have 25% of a position on. As there it is, now people were cheering for Palantir to get to a $5 winner. Well, now it's $7, and now it's $7.50, and now Palantir is saying, "Where are you at, shorts?" I don't know if Alex Karp saw my hat on this morning or not, but someone got in here and really bought this one up. I don't have the Alex Karp phone in, but
we have one?
We do have one, yeah.
Seriously?
It's misspelt. It says Alex Crap on it, KRAP. If you,
I don't have that.
Yeah, you probably you might have it over there. We have maybe Kathy's buying it. I mean, I definitely have her as well, which is also misspelt. So shout out to Kathy Wood there on that. But okay, we are starting to come back in on SpaceX right now, so that's a good look. As far as halting, INTJ, nah. Halted, open back up. That's a nothing burger there. OBX, nah, not doing anything. There's been nothing so far today. Just this ADGM, which seems to be wanting to go a little bit here off of 80 cents. So that's the VWAP level. And again, just because it's a small cap name doesn't mean it won't respect some kind of VWAP action. And it is doing that right now at 75 cents or so. So there it goes. Yeah, you are, to say thank you, Palantir there, Notorious Dinkelberg, is definitely, I'll put you up there. That's definitely something. We definitely want to say thank you to Palantir. And we got the question before I left, like, was there one special stock that's made a difference? It's been Palantir. And even today, right? We go back right to the well and trade that. So it's been a good long-term hold. And obviously it's been a great day trading stock as well here live on the show. So ever since Palantir existed, right? I mean, it's gotten the volumes. This was a $10 stock. It's up to $200. And it's just been a really good, well-spotted, well-traded name on our show since its inception, right? And so we'll just continue to watch out for Palantir, just like Nvidia, like all these names, and just like SpaceX. I don't think there's been a day where we haven't looked at SpaceX, but I didn't think that this would be an $8 winner either. No, I traded SpaceX.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't yesterday. It was last week. It was a day. It was like Friday. I think it was Friday.
Yeah, the day I wasn't here. But yeah, so SpaceX, and I just think you don't have to trade everything every day. Like we don't look at SK Hynix every day, or but it's definitely been a good one, Palantir. As there it is now, $8. Damn it. To have held more would have been nice. We're going to get stopped out at SpaceX, by the way, soon, as it's running right back up to VWAP.
Yeah, the market is trying to bounce. This time we're going to try and get the reload on IBIT, but Palantir is blasting. It's not doing the same thing over at Nvidia, but it is trying to break a trend. But there's your next topping tail into IBIT. I just can't see any reason if the market continues to blast, if this pattern holds, the slightest of turns is going to get us to the low, but Nvidia finally is waking up here. So it broke the trend, the downtrend. It double bottomed out, so we'll go there. It's not a huge trend line, but it's got the double bottom in front of the prior low as well. So I'd like it ideally. Sorry, guys. I was fighting the sneeze the whole time. I'm like, I'm not going to get to the mute button. So it broke the trend line here around 09.75. So ideally, I'd like to be long there. I'd be able to give it to like 209.5. But if it closes above 210, I'm willing to jump in and grab it at that particular price. Nvidia is starting to go. SMCI, which we got out of, that's even looking like a reversal as well. Has to hold. Show me that you're not just going to reject that top. I don't mind. I'm not allergic to going long on SMCI, but it had been depressing relative to the rest of the market. It's going to need to close above VWAP, and then I jump into this instead of Nvidia, or maybe along with Nvidia. And you're right about the small cappers. They are abject disappointment today.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. Like, there's nothing. None of the small cappers are popping up on. Nothing popping up on my locator as going crazy. So if they're in there, let us know in the chat, and maybe with the visualizer. Remember, it's $sign. Throw in $sign symbols. But I just keep things like I see Intel, I see ARM, I see Palantir, I see Marvell. That's where the juice is. You don't really need small cappers to go when you have multiple large cap or semi-large cap names going higher. Even there, like IBIT breaks out finally, so we take a reload. And again, a successful short, but you're not going to want to fight these if we start to join the party. Like that looks more like a reversal. Although I still don't like IBIT unless it's breaking out the top. So I'm going to stick with that. And thank you to Vondell for the gift over on TikTok. And I want to remind everybody, we haven't done a poll yet, but we're going to get a poll up, obviously, for SpaceX and for AMD. I just want to make sure our TikTok viewers it doesn't matter where you're watching us, you can participate when we do these polls, right? All you got to do is type a number in, and you guys get to participate too. So I want to thank you for that gift. Finally, Nvidia.
Oh, it's finally going?
Well, we got it. Instead of chasing the move to 10, I waited for it to pull back and give me that the 3/4 mark. So we're in at 209.83, giving it to the half and looking for VWAP on that bad boy. Another gift from Entrepreneur, Backblaze.
Backblaze. Blaze.
Oh, that's that BLZE stock. Okay. I was wondering, that's my bad. You know what? Look, small cappers, you can't know every stock in the market. So when you say the actual name of the company, sorry about that, Entrepreneur. You see the actual name of the company, I might actually realize that we didn't know what it was when we first brought this one up. So Blaze it's a gapper, but again, just doing nothing after that initial gap under VWAP. It's trying to get going. So I think what you want to see is get above that 23. All of these seem to have fallen asleep. And sometimes when the market is so strong and there's so many names running, the small cappers they're not the front of mind because there's runners all over the place. And they don't need to, traders and momentum doesn't need to hop into the small cappers when you have so much blasting off on a day like today. But it's trying to get above VWAP on that, just Blaze. No, I just called it
Just Blaze. We just blazed some out of our long-term accounts on Palantir. I offered it out and got it. I actually just chance that I could try to tell you what we got. I got it at 15% of my longer term holdings there on it, and now I have to go find out. I put my acceptance into the trash there. 157.69.1 we got out of 157.69.1. So we run into somebody in a dark pool there on my account. So yeah, so that's good. We said that we were going to look at a 160 fill if that was coming through. So I'll take some out right now for 15% out of PLTR and get into a little bit more cash now. As I mean, you know, might be wrong, might not be, who knows, at these levels. Just wanting to, it's getting to be obviously a little bit of a big piece again of the account. And, you know, last time we had this kind of a move up into this level, we had faded out, you know, once. We got faded out here and we hit again. So we're out of a little bit more of our Palantir, and probably wait for the NASDAQ to make another move, or, you know, another earnings call like Google, where I just looked back and, you know, we're so lucky. Lucky, I don't think is the right word. I'll be buying Apple soon, so I call that lucky when that goes back up. But, you know, we got Google at 320 flat there. So that's been a really good move back there to the upside in Google, as, you know, the market is really appreciating some of these Mag 7 names. And we went back into, it wasn't Mag 7 time not too long ago. You know, everyone was worried a little bit about these names, thinking that maybe they were a little bit too oversaturated, overconcentrated. And now we have a big rebound. And, you know, the only name that's really been pretty disappointing to me for sure is Meta. And I would love for this to be the next one to go, right? I mean, Meta's been in a little bit of a rut as of late. So we are a little worried about that one, Meta. But yeah, we're not too worried about much else. I mean, Microsoft's had a huge move higher there. And then Apple, I don't like the price action on Apple, but, you know, what are you going to do? I feel like this has been hit. We're only back to where we were in the beginning of July again. So I don't think it's like a huge, oh my God, what am I doing with myself? And there we go. See, so whatever I just sold there on Palantir at 157.69 is now $1 wrong, as you're at 158.50, and I couldn't be happier, man. We still got 85% of the position on. So there it goes upside. We have Brian Shannon coming. Oh, no, we don't. He's on vacay. Remember, he's in Alaska.
Yeah, he said he was going to.
I was going to say, because he's one of the guys
whale
there.
hunting. No, not whale hunting. Sorry.
No, not. I don't think he's going hunting.
No, I said whale hunting, but he might do some. Maybe he'll do some whale watching. He's hiking.
Well,
he's definitely hiking.
Yeah, I think it was polar bears. I think what he was.
Yeah.
I remember saying like how much I love polar bears, and then I was like,
which is cool. I've never been up north.
So polar bears will actually. They're one of the most violent bears, and one of the strongest as well. So
I mean, they're all pretty strong.
Watch out. Yeah, they're all pretty strong. You know.
I'm not messing with a bear under any circumstances.
When we had, there was a bunch of pandas at the Toronto City Zoo a while ago, and they're from Japan, obviously, and they were the cutest things. Oh, the way they eat that bamboo and they walk around and everything like that. That was too much. All right, Adair, what's up?
It's too much.
Excuse me. Keep an eye here on Fortinet, guys. FTNT on watch. Not making too much of a move here, but Citrini, of course, this is. They do analysis. They do papers. They released a little paper ahead of this Armageddon earlier this year. They're saying that they're bullish on Fortinet. They believe Fortinet could be a beneficiary here of AI-driven security spend, confirming the basket thesis for cybersecurity. So again, Citrini bullish on Fortinet. Now, yesterday, Citrini's bullish call at Oracle actually sent Oracle to the upside. Fortinet, though, not moving too much on this, though it's still hanging out near session highs. Back to you.
I'm going to get out here. We're just thinking about who has said certain lines in our office back in the day, because someone was
too much.
Something saying that. I think that was maybe that might have been George. All right, so 165. Sorry, 156. Reverse those numbers. 156.70 is your out. Well, my out right now. So 156.50. Offer that. Put that in right now. We'll see what winds up happening with Palantir. I just have to tell everybody, my initial stop was 149.50. So we give ourselves a lot of room upside for only a 50-cent stop. So far, so good. And I have to, you know, we can't just be, I've only talked about Palantir and SpaceX today, and that ran VWAP only to find 118.50 and now try to turn around. So SpaceX, I don't know if I like to be back in this or not, but it's been a tricky one today, pretty choppy. It got going early. I thought maybe we could have some downside love there. When it came back in, we bought the 200, then it lost it. Then we shorted the 200, basically got all of our money back there, and then shorted. This was profitable. then took another piece there because it was a small hit. We went short at 118 and got out at 118.20. So we will be red right there on SpaceX, but the move in Palantir making up for that one. So it'll be a green day here so far. But hey, man, it's still very, very early. Anything can happen. An interesting name would have been Robinhood. And I still think it's pretty interesting at $90. Like this has fallen down $6 straight line there. So I don't know. Interesting to see if there's a get up here. And then the other name that if I'm going to stick to my playbook today would be SOFI. But that didn't really dip. So
speaking of playbooks, if something has been respecting the volume weighted average price, you're going to see what just happened on Nvidia. Nvidia, after that little bit of a pullback into the pre-market low, double top, dipped in. It just did this topping tail candle at VWAP like it did before. So I'm going to jump out, take the scalp trade. Needs to hold above VWAP. This was ideally, this was supposed to be a continuation above VWAP or a test down around like 208. So I want to see it not rejecting this. The market's at highs, and it's still technically putting in a lower high in the higher time frame. So you take what you can get and not be upset. I'm also intrigued by Robinhood, but it's only now starting to give you, like there's a pullback, it holds 90. So you're getting a bit of a higher low and a trend break. It's one of the weakest names out there, so I'd like to see a little bit more out of the bid. But the volume's good. Like it's keeping up some volume, which is not terrible, and it's still holding up. It's just unfortunate how weak it's been. And IBIT's going, so it's not as if like crypto's not going. IBIT has a chance to be a breakout trade. I know we ended up. I ended up shorting it because the market was blasting off and it wasn't doing anything, so it set up that false high break. But now look at IBIT. Now you've got a potential false break at the bottom and then just a clean breakout trade with a gap. So we can go back to thinking this is a breakout with the market. 36.28 is the breakout price. 7 cents from now on IBIT. We're at 63.9, so almost 64,000 even on Bitcoin as well. Ooh.
Yeah,
how long was that super chat up there?
Yeah, good one. Thanks for the $20 there.
My bad.
We'll wait. Dara's not there right now, but if there is any sort of things happening, and I think the USO talk here is there is no, don't run it, Dara. It's still USO's not doing anything.
There's nothing happening.
Just that there was. Yeah, I know. We are worried a little bit about. Not worried. I think it's good. I've exited out of my oil sort of exposure, and I think that was a good idea. But the talk, I believe, Adair, is just the fact that President Trump right now, reposting some truths about where he thinks the talks with Iran are going, and apparently some positive talks expected this next weekend for Iran is what I'm thinking that is what's happening right now. Yeah, he's reposting our articles, as Adair had mentioned there. So.
Articles from 2 days ago, I might add. So these are not new articles, and I've said this a lot. One thing that President Trump likes to do on Truth is post articles that are anywhere, like sometimes a month, 2 months old. Sometimes they will move stocks. Like this actually did happen with Amazon in particular, where he posted an old story about it and it started moving like months after the fact. But yeah, so with this story here, this is a Breitbart article from Sunday. I'm just saying that reposting Trump's own comments about a deal being imminent, which we know now has not been the case yet.
I love when you say something's imminent and then you repost it again and say that's proof that it's imminent, but it's your own post, right? So shout out to Donald Trump there. It's just trying to get some action, obviously, happening in these talks, and we would all love to see some kind of a resolution to it all. And I think that when that does eventually come through, you will see oil prices rocking back to the downside, because as the world definitely realizes here that the Strait of Hormuz can no longer be that clog, right? It has to be something else. Wow. Palantir's at 160 right now. I don't know. You want to talk about machines turning on. This name on our watch list is up 15 or 16%. So I was like, you know what? I'm putting on the hat, with that kind of a move. And then all of a sudden so I sold $2 ago, by the way, at a 15% if you're just joining. But, I appreciate my own honesty there. And then there it goes now, ripping through up to 160. I just didn't want to miss this in case it did fall back in. And, maybe we should have given it. And I've already said that there's an extension coming, right? There's multiple days I thought could happen for Palantir. So we'll take a piece off here. And if we put this back to when I was asked about this at 3:30 yesterday afternoon, I said potential 160 move incoming. Did not actually believe myself that was what was going to happen. And there it goes. Palantir straight up now, up 27%. The best winner of all right now, day one plays for a name that you may be holding. Palantir up 27% right now. And yeah, it doesn't look like it wants to stop by any stretch of the imagination. Still looking to see if any of these names are tradable on these halts. I'm just running through the whole halt list. You can see the names up here right now. There's nothing worthy. This ADGM, though, you may want to have a quick look at this. This is now $1, as that's been making moves, right? We first brought to you this name when it was halting around there at 77, 75 cents. So just like Palantir, this name now up 30 or so percent from this VWAP low of 80 cents up into $1 right now. So wow, giddy up, man. This has been awesome to the long
Before
side.
we go to Adara,
yeah, go. Yeah.
February 6, 2024, 30.8% is the record that you're shooting for.
On Palantir, 30.8?
30.8, so apparently the largest single-day gain on Palantir. Well,
that might be tough to
obviously,
get to.
Yeah, 30.8 would, that's only... That's
nah,
not that far away. It's
another 5%. I mean,
another 5%.
Is it possible? I mean,
it's always possible. It's also possible that we're going to the desk.
Well, that's not possible.
No, apparently it's impossible.
That is definitely happening now.
Hey guys, here's the sector board, and it's really, really split here. So we'll start with what's looking weak, energy minerals, all the way to the downside. We know that we heard earlier today some reports, I believe from Bloomberg, suggesting that Qatar was trying to force a deal here between the U.S. and Iran for peace. Utilities also to the downside, consumer non-durables to the downside, retail trade really weak, and Amazon was up like 5% yesterday, so this is significant. That being said, you've got strength in, of all names, Carvana in the sector up 4%. Health tech week, you've got Eli Lilly earnings tomorrow morning to think about, and today we had reports from Pfizer and Merck, amongst others. I also have to mention Danaher on watch here, DHR down 1.5%. New CEO by the name of Julie Sawyer Montgomery. She's going to be coming into that head spot at the company. Communications, red. Health services, red. Now, green. This entire second half year of the left half of the board. Producer manufacturing to the upside. Caterpillar still up 4% despite dropping pretty heavily off the open, and still leading AMAT and LRCX to the upside in the sector as well. You've got tech services all looking pretty green, with the exception of Meta. You've got Oracle, Palantir, Palo Alto Networks, CrowdStrike, Datadog, Microsoft, and Google all strong. And again, guys, Palantir up 26.5%, near its record day ever on earnings day one. Finance here to the upside. Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, a lot of these classic major banks are doing well today. Electronic tech, you've got tons of strength in as well. It's actually hard to find a name that is weak or flat in this sector, but I'll just mention a couple standouts to the upside. Marvell up 10.5%. Qualcomm here up 5.5%. SanDisk and Micron both up 6 to 7%. So good look here for a lot of these electronic tech semiconductor memory chip plays. Back to you.
Yeah, to say the least, no doubt about it. We'll get to the super chat from David Zed Siamese. Remeta shared this trade here on the July the 30th. You've got September. Oh, that's of next year. Okay. September of next year, up 44%. Spread is Meta. 185. So your only out right now is to sell at the bid and force to not make me chase the bid down, but you're hanging on. So yeah, Meta's been we've kind of been hanging on for dear life. Meta feels like it's hanging on for dear life with the market. Just it's pulling back as the market continues to make highs, and unfortunately, this is another name that didn't really quite break out yesterday. It goes right up to the top, can't break the 600. There's a problem with the 600 level and the 50 period on Meta. If it can get through that, I think it looks fine. And then you got the jaunt to, you know what happens at 680 on that stock. It can't get past it. So IBIT did make the breakout. This is the gap we're looking for, 36. Half to 36.55. So we're into there. Want to be able to try to give it back into the prior, not the prior close, but you see the resistance turning into potential support at 36.2. So we're long at 31. Don't want it to get under the 20 mark at all. Nvidia is this is very disappointing. Since getting, see the topping tail at VWAP, it just continues to defy expectations relative to the market. It just doesn't want to go on Nvidia. So I guess you got to wait for this double bottom.
Look,
at 209 is about the only place you can go to. Why? What's up with Tesla?
I just want you to see, look at the same. It's like
it's the same
exact
thing.
same thing.
It's the same thing. Look at it's
exactly
just a choppy mess in both of these names.
What's going on, man?
You know what? There's still look. I want to be patient. There's a chance these can go. Nvidia is a focus today because, let's be real, the AI play got validated by Caterpillar, and it makes me wonder. Maybe we're not going anywhere until Caterpillar catches a bid. And that's for the second time it's trying to consolidate. If Caterpillar can break back up, maybe that's what you're waiting for to give Nvidia a bit of a boost and get some life under this stock.
Little bumpy. All right, so yeah, look, I mean, I only called up that Tesla because I was looking at the same thing. I was like, what the heck's going on there with Tesla? Okay, man, here we go. This is now Palantir's world, and we're all just living in it. I think we've already realized that. But there it is right now, up to 160, now at that level that potentially, I mean, the real high now, if we can talk a little crazy now, that's 163, as Neil just identified, sort of that run that we were expecting here for Palantir at some point, and that was 31% or so you mentioned. So
yeah,
that would be 164 is that high right there, and that probably puts us right into that area. Now, that shouldn't matter. I don't know if it does or if it doesn't, but we're going to wait to see if Palantir wants to go and shoot the gold here upside at that 163. And again, it just happened right away for me today at 9:35 on that first pre-market high, or not pre-market high, open market high break right there of PLTR. So, all right, what else you guys want to talk about? And Broadcom, yeah, it is Palantir's world, maybe. Yeah, you're right there in the chat. What's up to conservative movement? I think you might be right. We are living in Palantir's world right now. There's not much anybody can do about it either. SOFI, Alice Karp tried to tell all of you. I mean, was on CNBC and said the shorts are going to be in a big problem. This is before the earnings report came out there. You know, he's basically channeling his inner Elon, I feel like, with comments like that. You know, sort of calling out some of the dangerous plays that can happen on the short side of things. And Elon was always, you know, playing with his food when he's talking to those short sellers there, back and forth and all over again. My eyes keep coming up, but like, I'm not getting anything on any of these scanners. Like Alibaba's coming up here a little bit, so we can take a quick look to see what Alibaba wants to do. Yeah, upside, so a break higher there, taking out the day's high. So there's the scan there for Alibaba breaking out through 128. So that might be a decent look. Again, really like Alibaba and wish that we had bought some more in our account down there, which we didn't, so that's too bad. Tesla, I just called up for Neil's sake there. This is bouncing around VWAP, I believe. Yeah, so we're just getting that back and forth. Tesla's hit on this a couple times. Coinbase, I guess I'm now seeing now, and I haven't really been looking. Wait till Sharif hears about Palantir. I don't want to tell you, man. It's been a disastrous day for Palantir. Almost up 30%, right there. But yeah, Coinbase now getting a run on IBIT movements now as well. So I have to watch out for Coinbase up 1 and a bit percentage points. Hey, all this means something, but it doesn't mean much. You got to have money. So we're going to figure out if it's talking to you or not today. And it's Money Talks in the back there with Adara.
Yeah, I brought this up a lot lately. The U.S. dollar really respecting technical levels. You had this area, I mean, not exact, but you had resistance around this area in late April 2026, coming in again here May 2026. We bounce off this level, so flip from resistance to support in June of 2026. We bounced off it again yesterday. This level is going to be around 99.4. And yesterday, big green candle. Today, roughly flat, you know, slightly red. We moved up a little bit, moved down a little bit, hanging out here, though, around yesterday's high of that 100 level. We cannot reclaim 100 successfully. We broke above it. We could not hold above it. Currently trading around 99.9 for the DXY. We did have some economic data today. JOLTS job openings coming in a little bit lower than expected. We were expecting about 7.45 million. We got 7.35 million, and the prior print here was 7.59 million. So that was going to be quite a bit below expected and certainly below the previous print there for JOLTS job openings. Let's take a look at the CME Fed Watch tool. Right now, about 60-40, so 60% chance of a hike at the next meeting, 40% chance of rates being held at that September 16, 2026 meeting. This is going to be well over a month away right now. And the probabilities are getting kind of interesting too. So we are going to expect that hike at the September meeting. We're expecting another hike in March. then we actually could get rates going back down, it looks like, for September and October of 2027 before being raised again in December of 2027. This is fascinating. And I'm very curious to see how this develops and what, I guess, metrics are being used to predict this. But the CME FedWatch tool just keeps getting curiouser and curiouser as we get closer to that September 2026 meeting on the 16th. Back to you.
Otherwise known as more and more curious. By the way, see NVIDIA, it refuses to hold above VWAP. It just rejected it another time, but that's not the chip stock that seems like it wants to go. It's Intel at 99.87 as the current high. So looking to double tap the $100 level. Intel 100 break, there's room, like 100 psychological level, but there's nothing up here at the 100 level that actually looks like it's anything big. So there's room to go on Intel. Remember, AMD reporting tonight is obviously going to be a bit of a sympathy play for Intel. Nick Dubs, you've been looking to get into SMR. Was looking for 6, and it hasn't come in yet. Thoughts on long from here. On our everybody's good friend, SMR. Not many people's good friend lately on SMR. The good news, it's made a rounded bottom on the daily chart easily at the $9 level. Bad news, I hate it if it's not over the 200 period moving average. So personally, I said I want it under my hat size, or I want it above the 50 period moving average. And I'm just above a 7. So I'm looking back at the historic, probably around the 6 like you are as well. Otherwise, I don't like a breakout right under the 50 period moving average unless there's something fundamentally changed here, and there hasn't on SMR. It's just one of those, it's so nasty that you want some real confirmation that it's bottomed out here, not just that it kind of looks like it. That's the thing. If you miss the bid by a little bit, you can start to get that FOMO, and then you start chasing prices on something in a huge downtrend. And this is in a huge downtrend. If it's going to go as a big-time shot play, remember, it could be worth 0. It could also be a 10x'er. If it's going to go, having a bad price on the way up never really matters when they start exploding. But catching it too early, that could be the difference between, you stop, you lose 40% or 20%. And in my books, I think you want to make sure you have that right loss limit on the ones that are looking nasty.
I want you guys to hit the like and the subscribe. About 8,000 of you watching right now, 843. If you can, man, do us a favor. Go over here, hit this little thumbs up right there, and let's get this over 1,000. I mean, we should be able to do that. Now, 8,000 of you watching. We're live here every single day. If you like Alice Karp's hair, hit the like button. If you don't like Alice Karp's hair, hit the like button as well. And we'll see, which one winds up winning. But yeah, the Madman has delivered mad returns today for anybody that was trading this name. Now more than double its expected move today. Palantir up 27 and a bit. Let's refresh and see if anybody did hit that like button. We want to say a big shout out on TikTok, man. Hit those hearts. Get those hearts going. Get everything. There it is, 990. Who will be that lucky thousandth like there today on Palantir? So I'm going to refresh. There it is. We got it. So thank you so much to everybody. You guys are all awesome. So thank you so much for the love there on this spot. And there goes Palantir just ripping northbound. Its high of the day is a break of that 160. We already got it, man. 160.41. And we got out there at 157.69 for 15% of our holdings. But, we're long sub $20 on this name, and it just continues to make moves higher. PLTR, there it goes. The other name here was we only have 4 minutes left. SpaceX, the only other name I traded today. So we lost on SpaceX, won on Palantir, Green Day. But yeah, here's the pullback finally. And I'm just saying finally, but there's really no reason for it to have done that. We did hit around 119.50, which does give us this feel right into there. So potential short incoming now for SpaceX. I do want to say I did put my offer at 158 break. So if we break 158 there, then we're going to get out of Palantir. So as we continue to go back on, then, back over to the midday show, that's going to be my out in case anybody is looking at Palantir and what we're doing there. But yeah, I still do. What's up, Artemis? I do actually think Palantir's best days are behind them, but not from as far as where the stock potentially the earnings power that they have and what that means. What I'm saying is I don't know if Palantir has another 1,000% in it to the upside, but definitely working out well. And it's my largest holding, Palantir. So especially after a day like today, yeah, it's been a good one. So let's just chill out. Actually, I sold some, so it might be my largest holding is actually the S&P 500. But as far as an individual stock, Palantir and Google are now up near the top there. So, but yeah, so far so good here today as we continue to hold on to this one with only 3 minutes left. You're in the IBIT long. I mean, I think that's been
it's a reversal
treated
play.
really well today at IBIT.
Yeah, just sort of roll the. Someone's like, oh, it's looking a lot better in strength, and we could have got into this at VWAP, but it set up that normal short at the open. But I think this one has a chance to fill in the gap. It really just comes down to the structure of the trade. False break of the low, breakout of the top, 36.5. The market's strong. What doesn't look any good right now is Nvidia. If there's a disappointing name, to me, it's Nvidia today, because unless you were in it in the pre-market unless you're in the pre-market, the long has given you almost no chance. It's now looking like a trend down trade, unfortunately, for Nvidia. So it was just like one scalp, and then that's all you could do with Nvidia. It's Intel in that $100 level that looks like we're gonna. Oh, never mind. Jinx. Remember we were saying Intel at $100? As usual, it double topped, and there was the jinx. So sorry about that. If you're looking for a 100 break. We're still looking for a $100 break on Intel. Maybe that'll be an afternoon play. We'll come back to that. It could be lunchtime, but watch out for it. There's nothing outside of the flat, even dollar on Intel. Like it's $100. It's psychological. It's pre-AMD earnings, but there's no level out there outside of it just being the 100. So I think it can be one for sure. So again, like just in a reversal on IBIT for me. SMCI hit the early short to the low, and then look at that one. Like, look at the reverse at VWAP on some of these. But, I was bearish on the stock, so it put in the whole false break, short VWAP into the low play on SMCI, and I don't feel like chasing them. Not the time of day that you want to chase. I think Intel 100 break is probably the next thing here, and that's presuming it even gets there again.
All right, there it is, man. The money is now secured. And that's it. So there goes Palantir. It broke 158. So we're out of that. We'll take $8 and run away from that. Is again good look at the 160 level. We thought there'd be a psychological level there. Now I did see somebody in the chat say that they probably trapped some of the longs up there, and that's exactly. I agree. Like there was this little topping tail candle right there that might have signaled that, hey, the buyers have stopped. And then since then, it's 4 straight red candles, depending on where this next one closes, which looks like it will be red. So, 5 straight now, red candles to the downside for Palantir. So, yeah, I feel like there was been, that's why when Neil mentioned 30%, I was like, we did get going, and that's for sure. Good day there for Palantir.
And it was also on earnings, too, that other one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, was it? Yeah, that
was an earnings day.
There. So Palantir just continues to put money in traders' pockets, but the short may now be in on PLTR. So I'm not going to go short, nor do I advise doing that. But at the end of the day, there's that 160 wick and all the way down. Like it just cracked below 157.50 there right now as it's going a lot lower. It's 11.01 there. So, yeah, I think you're right. Market, there it is again, Hamster, there in the chat. The market loves round numbers, the retail market. And, yeah, that's why I'm always talking about it. And not only that, I think yesterday when I said 160, that could have been an options area that people had traded off of. So, no doubt a pullback there for PLTR.
Did you see this name? I know we're going to go over the midday.
Yeah, it was on my scanner.
But Alibaba.
Yeah, second one.
Day 2 on Alibaba. Let's give some respect to this. This is the first time I think we're actually talking about it today. But the problem with the Chinese names in the middle of the day, it's hard to get a good breakout in the afternoon sometimes on Baba because it's like the morning and then, the Asian traders go to sleep. So I'd worry about an extension on Baba, but what a great looking name here. And it has been fantastic. This one continues to run. It's got plenty of room to rally to the 140. I don't know if Intel gets to its round number at $100, but I think that's what we're looking for next. Still at 99. I think it's got a chance. I think it might break out at lunchtime, but we'll throw you guys to the midday if
The
it
Nasdaq's
does.
at highs. Like, everything is ripping.
The
Everything's
ES
at
and the
highs.
Nasdaq, they're all at highs trying to go.
What a
So as long as that keeps on happening, I think we've got a chance. We're going to go to the desk first to Adara, and then we're going to throw you guys to Sharif and Joe. We'll see where it goes. Palantir could still, it's got a chance at the, it's not
I
a
think
record.
the high of the day will be around that 161. I'll call that
Double,
right now.
double top?
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I hope it's not.
What's
I hope
the high
it
now?
continues to go high. Yeah, 160 50s.
Okay, so,
So I think the rate around that level, I think, for Palantir. But yeah, anyways,
done a poll.
I still don't think it's a short. It's just, you know, well cooked there, Palantir.
Yes.
So again, thank you. The hat is on. We're back to the desk with Adara.
get some lunch.
Keep an eye here on Moderna. Now, obviously not a massive move, but just be aware here, there was a little bit of a spike in this name. The company's announcing that they're starting new phase 1 clinical trials for one of its treatments, specifically mRNA 1469. This is a new vaccine targeting Bundibugyo Ebola virus. So new Ebola vaccine in the works here for our mRNA. They're making some announcements related to it. Keep an eye on this name. Also, keep an eye on Nvidia. NVDA in focus here, not too much of a move, but they're collaborating with a group called DDN on GPU-initiated data access for AI. If we get anything else, we'll of course keep you posted as we send you over to the midday. Back to you.